This is Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, and this is Python's Paradise. And folks, we're on January 16th, 2021. And this new setup's not bad. I'm liking this a lot. We have, it's been a long time coming. I had done 30 interviews in 2020, and then I was off to a great start, and then COVID. Well, I'm happy to say, Zoom got invented, and here I am, um, back to doing what have been enjoying. Because it's nice to be doing something other than clean, which is what my pay job is right now. And well, I say welcome to 2021, but it's got its problems as well. But nonetheless, I have a guest on Python's Paradise today that I've had on every year for the past 5 years, and he's the only one I know that goes to his job and does what I don't do: smile. I was like, what is up with that, folks? I give the person behind Samhain and person behind Gravestone Productions, and the one who personally traumatized Amanda Sawyer when he appeared in just his boxers in that film. Folks, I give you the author of the Friday the 13th and Halloween trivia books, as well as the author of Christ Defeats Cancer, Scotty McCoy. How do you do, Scotty?
I'm doing good, Greg. Thank you for having me. A record fifth time. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a couple of other people on 5 times, but you're the first one to have 5 solo interviews.
Awesome.
Yep, I've had Belinda Blasky on 5 times, 4 solos and once with another actress. And I had author Blood Passions author Jim Valente on 5 times, but 4 solo and once with an actress. So yeah.
Awesome.
I recognize that room. Is that the room that you did your second Doubtfire Face challenge in?
It is. This is actually the wall that I don't think I don't think I had the couch at the time. So yeah, this is the wall that I did the second one at.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I love the one that Brett Harris did, and I love the one I got a kick out of the one Tyler Ebert did. I loved it. He got so annoyed with his sister that he took there was enough pie there. He almost smacked his sister in the face with the pie. I thought that was so
That
funny.
was great. That was
That was
actually really great.
that was great. You know, um,
Absolutely.
yeah. I think Amanda Sawyer needs to do hers again. Would you agree on that?
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I think she kind of cheated a bit. So yeah, we need to make that happen.
Definitely.
I'll leave that up to you because you're
Sounds
closer
good.
for her to hit.
Sounds like a
Yeah,
plan.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, 5 years in a row.
Hmm.
Yeah, we've known each other. Well, we know each other, I think, since 2016. But your first
Yep.
interview was in 2017.
Right.
Uh, you're one of these ones I have on in January. You're not the only one, but not that I purposely book people for certain times, but sometimes, um, when I come across my schedule and I do my post my anniversaries,
Yep.
it's just easiest that way. That's all.
Exactly. Oh, I can't stop yawning. I apologize for that. I'm so tired.
You know what? I am yawning to myself because I work a cleaning job, and I worked last night at the local college downtown, and I didn't get done work till 7 o'clock this morning,
Oof. Yikes.
and then I got back here, and I took a shower,
Hmm.
and read Bible scriptures, and brush my teeth and stuff, and I got maybe 3 hours of sleep, and I still got to go to work tonight,
Oh,
but at least I got tomorrow off. So, but
right.
yeah,
Oh
but
boy.
yep. So I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling that. So I'm glad you're yawning, so I don't have to feel guilty if I do
Well, the
it.
weekends are the only days I get to sleep in, and because of work, throughout the week. And I notice when I sleep in, I am more tired throughout the day than when I'm up at 4:30 in the morning to get ready, to go to work. And because of the pandemic still going on, I work from home, so I don't have to do all the driving and everything. But in order to access the virtual network and everything, I'm on. I have to be up at 4:30 because it takes about 30 minutes or so just to get everything logged in and situate it. And I noticed that I'm more tired when I'm up at when I'm sleeping in. Oh my god. Yeah, but I'm more tired sleeping in than I am when I'm up early, and it's a pain because I enjoy to sleep in, but not when I'm up and I'm tired throughout the day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Sunday's my one day off, but my work schedule is not the same every day, so
Right.
I got some days where I don't work the full 8 hours, so
Yeah.
I get my full work week, and it's not too bad. At least I worked through this stupid pandemic, but
Yeah.
can we both agree, fuck COVID?
I can agree with that.
I
But
actually am wondering if there's something more to it, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but it's like
yeah.
it makes no sense that small businesses aren't open, but big businesses
Yeah.
are. Like you would think you'd be safer going to a small business than one of these
Yeah.
big uh, gathering places,
Yeah, I can agree with that. And like selfishly, I like COVID to the point that I don't have to go into the office because I like to work from home. It's very convenient. But realistically, I just want everything to open up because I'm sick of having to go into a store and have to wear a mask. And with my dad, battling brain cancer, I don't want to have him, catch anything and risk his life. So it's like one of those things that I like the pandemic for the fact that selfishly I can still work from home, but it's at the point that I'd rather go into the office and have everything be back to its normal and not the new normal bullshit, like actually be normal.
Yeah, my mom does that too. She says this is the new normal. I'm like, no, it's not.
Right,
I mean, I know somebody who couldn't go visit her son for Christmas, and her
right.
mom, like she was lucky enough to have friends she could spend Christmas with, but you think she's going to put up with that next year, or anybody else going to put up with that next year?
Uh-uh.
No.
Nope.
They
I
can
mean, for Chris, go ahead.
yeah, they can get this vaccine out and ready and perfect it or whatever and fix this friggin' problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for Christmas, even Thanksgiving, we didn't have any other family come up, but for Christmas, we all got together like we usually do. We weren't letting COVID ruin our Christmas. Um, we all got COVID tests and everything like that when we came over, just to be on the safe side because of my dad. So we all went to the one place that has COVID that gives out the COVID testing, and they usually do a rush on it, but get the results within 24 hours. And we ended up doing that, and whoever was positive wouldn't show up, and mostly everybody was negative. So we basically had it. We had my uncle tested positive, so he wasn't able to come, but everybody else was negative. So
You do realize that they're supposed to swab your nose, not your ass.
yes, I do realize that. I do realize that, but I mean, I'm ready for it. Like, I mean, Valentine's Day is coming up, anniversaries, birthdays. Like, I like to go out on whether it's a date or whether it's, with my family for my birthday dinner or something. Like, for my birthday this year, we just ordered wings because, and ordered it out and picked it up and brought it back for everybody because it wasn't one of those. We usually go to like Texas Roadhouse or something like that for my birthday, and we couldn't do that this year because of COVID. And when COVID first started happening, it was like, oh, it'll be over by July, everything will be back to normal. And then bam, it's all these years, and every year something goes wrong with my birthday, and I'm like, last year I said my birthday's gonna be great next year, it's gonna be perfect, and bam, global pandemic.
Yeah, just sucks. No,
Yeah.
I could I'd like to get back to traveling, like to do Horrorama at the end of the
Hmm.
year, and it is scheduled for October 2nd and 3rd this year. So
Okay.
knock on wood, I'm hoping,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. Um like I wear the mask and all that stuff, but it's like fuck off COVID.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I don't mind the mask as much as I don't mind, restaurants not being open. I mean, yeah, they're doing takeout, but I like the convenience of sitting in a restaurant, having an intimate time with my partner or with my family, or going to a movie theater to actually see big box office movies. Like Halloween Kills was supposed to come out this past October. That got delayed for a full year. Hopefully it'll be out this year in theaters because I would like to see it. Like, and I don't mean
Mhm.
like I don't want to see it, on my TV at home. I want to see it in a freaking movie theater where it's meant to be seen.
Well, we were doing fine here. We were in yellow phase. Now we're in orange phase, and now they're
Okay.
threatening to put us in red phase. I'm like, just put us in black phase and fuck off. Like it's a problem I'm finding with me is that and I'm taking this seriously.
Hmm.
But here's the thing. I've worked through the whole pandemic.
Hmm.
So for me, I still go to work. I wear the mask and stuff, and I come back home. But it's like the big inconvenience was not doing my podcast, or not being able to
Hmm.
travel to Toronto and
Yeah.
basically live a life. Now, thankfully, thanks to Zoom here, I'm able to do this. Thank goodness.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
But
agree.
yeah, but I don't know. I'm just like we can. I don't know if we can go into restaurants right now in the orange phase or not. I know I can go to a Tim Hortons and I can get a coffee, through
Right.
drive-through. Our theater is open to limited capacity,
Hmm.
but I'm like, they released Wonder Woman 84 on streaming in at the theater, and I'm like, there's no way that thing's gonna get its money back.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing about a lot of the movies. Like like especially the big budget ones, like they're putting all these millions and millions of dollars out to make the movie, and they're probably not going to make nearly as much as they would have if it was in theaters to full capacity, and they're not going to, get their money back at all. Like they might not even break even at this point.
No, no. But I mean, 13 Fanboy got pushed to August 13th, so
Yep.
I kind of want to see that in the theater. Although I have a feeling we probably won't get it here because that's
Hmm.
I'd like to hope we would, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm definitely going to the theater to see that as well. Hopefully theaters will be open, even if it's in a limited capacity. I would still like to go. It would be nice. I mean, that's what it's meant for. I mean, I did get a perk for it, and I also got a perk for Victim No More now.
Hmm.
And on a side note, I talked to Bobby Heckman because we became actually really good friends. We're friends on Facebook, and we became good friends when I met him at the convention I was at the Cumberland Drive-In. And then I donated to Victim No More, and I found out that he is the agent for Kimberly Beck.
Hmm.
And I asked him if he would be able to set up an interview, and he said with me and her, and he said he'll do what he can. He said sometimes she does what she wants, but he's going to mention it to her, and he'll let me know, and he's going to put me at the top of the podcast list. He said she has a lot of podcasts that are literally on the list to put me at the very top. So fingers crossed that happens.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that would like to get her on the show too. Although I haven't approached him about it in a while
Hmm.
because when COVID happened, I had a wait list on my podcast of like 30 people, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, and I got about 5 people set for February, and
Right.
I'm like, thank goodness, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just set up, and I'm a big fan of Days of Our Lives, and I know you
Oh,
don't like all that
jeepers,
stuff,
stupid
but I
old,
set up an
stupid.
interview. I set up an interview with actually I confirmed it officially this morning for January, I believe it's the 28th. I'd have to look at my calendar, but January 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific with Michael C. Manning. And he plays Charlie Dale in Days of Our Lives, but he was in a couple independent horror films as well. And he has a new movie coming out
Yeah,
on
Days of Our
February 5th.
Lives. That's a horror.
So
Friggin'
I'm
soap
actually really
operas.
excited for that interview though, because he's a very good actor, and he's got a couple indie horror films out. He has another movie coming out, and I wanted to do it over Zoom, but he wants to do it just over the phone. So I'm okay with that.
Just do
Um
it. Just do it audio on Zoom.
yeah, that's true. Like he wants to actually call me, like physically call me. I don't know if there's a way, because he's like a bigger named actor coming out now. Like he's
Hmm.
starting to really start become bigger. Like he has this big blockbuster movie that he filmed, and it was under wraps, and it's coming out on February 5th. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. But anyways, he wanted to do he wants to do it over the phone. So they asked me for my number so he can block his number to call me and everything and all
Well,
that. Yeah, but he doesn't want to do any type of Zoom interview, which I'm okay with. I give them the option. Do you want to do a Zoom interview or do you want to do it over the phone? And whatever they choose, we'll do.
I don't think I can do it over the phone right now. I'm not set up for that.
Yeah.
But this seems to be what everybody's doing now, so I'm like, okay.
Hmm.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, not everybody can. Like, I know I was supposed to open the year with author Jimmy Presley,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, I think he's like in the middle of nowhere with dial up and wasn't able to get set up that way. But I told him, I said, look, when you get everything squared off, or if I can get back in the station, like
Yeah.
I'm not holding my breath on that,
Right.
then I'd be more than happy to have him on, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been going to the theater since early July last year,
Hmm.
so I can attest to this. It's safe.
Yeah.
Um, you go there and they have it set up where you can pick your own seating, and they have
Hmm.
designated seating where you're not sitting close to everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I went last week, you know, and
Hmm.
so I'm
Yeah.
fine.
I,
Um,
I I know and the thing is we had a movie premiere for Samhain. And that was one thing I was really nervous about was like, are we gonna have this movie premiere? Like, I don't want to have to refund everybody their tickets if we have to cancel the whole thing. And like, that would be a whole process and all that since I had never done something like that before. Hell, it was my first ever premiere that I was hosting, and like all the cast and crew were free, but everybody else that weren't part of the production, I had to pay to get in to see it before it actually hits theaters. And we were able to finally book it for July but we had to postpone it like two or three times. And we had about at least over 150 people there, and the theater can hold 300. So we had about 150 people. We could only have half. Now we didn't have 150. We could have a total of 150 if that makes sense. We had about a little over 100 that showed up. But we tried to space everybody out as much as we can. Everybody wore a mask going in. When they were in their seats, they didn't have to wear a mask. And it was a red carpet event and everything. And not one person got COVID from the entire event. So
yeah, I know you're into wrestling. Did you hear that that Chris Jericho got COVID?
I did not hear that.
Yep. Yeah, Jim Cornette did not feel one bit sorry for him because I guess he went out with his band Fozzy and they performed
Mhm,
at a public event.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I heard Drew McIntyre got COVID. I heard that one. I didn't hear about Jericho yet.
You know what? I think wrestling right now is just a
Mhm.
shit show. I agree with
Yeah.
Jim Cornette on everything he says. Wrestling today is a shit show.
I haven't watched WWE for at least 2 or 3 months now, except for the pay-per-views.
Yeah, it's like, and Vince McMahon getting WWE labeled as an essential business. Like,
Mhm.
fuck you.
Like,
Like,
yeah.
seriously, it's what I do is essential.
Right. Yep.
Like them and their stupid inserted crowd chants because they want to put in whoever they think that people should be cheering for. It's like,
Mhm.
don't make that decision for us. Like Vince
The
McMahon, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care what he says. If he says he's not on steroids, I don't buy it. I think he is.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I think he's a bully. I think he's an asshole. That's my
Yeah.
opinion of him. If you heard my interview with Princess Victoria, well, she did not have very many positive things to say about. Actually, she had
Mhm.
no positive things to say about him. But
Yeah.
he's one of these. He's one of these guys. They got such a catalog of stuff. You know what I would have done if I was in his shoes for
Wow.
COVID at WrestleMania last year? You know what I would have done?
What?
I would have I would have still had WrestleMania, but I wouldn't have done it the traditional way.
Mhm.
I would have let all the wrestlers go home.
Yeah.
There'd be none of this wrestling in an empty building, which, as far as
Mhm.
I'm concerned, I agree with Jim Cornette. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley were the one great match on the show.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, what I would have done is I would have recorded myself doing an intro explaining what I was going to do, and what I would have done with WrestleMania is I would have called it WrestleMania 36 COVID counter. And I would have explained we're going to do something different. We're not going to put the wrestlers at risk like Vince
Mhm.
McMahon fucking cares.
Right.
But I would have done something. I would have gone back to the beginning. I would have said, well, Hulk Hogan was the champion at WrestleMania.
Mhm.
And I would have taken matches that were not on any event card,
Mhm.
and I would have highlighted every opponent Hulk Hogan had wrestled at WrestleMania,
Mhm.
and I would have put them on and I would have put it and I would have matched these guys up with great opponents
Mhm.
or notable opponents, and I would have made that the card. Like
Right.
and I say I centered around Hulk Hogan because he was the big celebrated champion at WrestleMania 1.
Yep.
So, and you could get enough matches in there to have a WrestleMania that it wouldn't be like the live show, but at least you're giving them something and you're giving some nostalgia.
Right.
So I run it down like this. WrestleMania 1, it was he and Mr. T against Rowdy Roddy Piper and Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff. What I would
Mhm.
have done, I would have taken a past match with Roddy Piper. I would have had them in the matches where the Hogan opponents won.
Right.
I don't understand these Blu-rays they come out with, best of for wrestlers, and they have a bunch of matches where they lose. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, but like Rowdy Roddy Piper, for example, I'll give it a good example. I'd probably put the steel cage match where he beat Ravishing Rick Rude.
Right.
I'd probably put that as one of the matches.
Mhm.
For Paul Orndorff, I would probably put his match with Bobby the Brain Heenan because he fired Heenan a couple of times.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, yep. Um, so I would probably put that
Yeah.
one. Um, and for his WrestleMania 2 opponent, King Kong Bundy, I would put the match where he took on Hillbilly Jim 1-on-1. I know he fought Hillbilly Jim at WrestleMania 3, but they had the midgets involved. I think they could have had, yeah, Bundy doing the elbow on Little Beaver. Um,
That was classic.
but Bundy had a one-on-one with Hillbilly Jim, and he beat him. I probably would have put that match on this card. For Andre the Giant, I was going to say his cage match with John Studd, but he fought John Studd at WrestleMania 1 in that slam match. So I would probably use the classic stretcher match he had with Killer Khan.
Killer Khan, that was a
Yeah,
classic.
that would be the one I would do for
Yeah.
Andre. Now, he fought Andre again at WrestleMania 4, but I'd only have them the one match. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't repeat wrestlers either. I'd make it almost like a card.
Mm-hmm.
For Randy Savage's WrestleMania 5 opponent, I would probably have one of the Randy Savage's matches against Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
Because I think that would work. For
Yep.
the Ultimate Warrior, WrestleMania 6, I think I would have the Warrior match against Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, they had Lawler playing this pansy villain, but Lawler was really a classic champion that
Yep.
I don't think Vince took seriously enough.
Right.
But
If you watched any of his work in the Memphis territory, he was great.
so I would probably have a Warrior against Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania 7 Slaughter, I would showcase his boot camp match against the Iron Sheik,
Yeah.
which not only was a great match, but it was bloody. Sid Vicious for WrestleMania 8, that one's a tough one, but I'm kind of leaning towards his match against the Mountie, which I
Okay.
recently watched, and I was actually surprised. I didn't remember the Mountie getting as much offense as he did.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd probably go with that.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably favor of a bigger opponent, but
Right.
this still works. And then for WrestleMania 9, you had Hogan and Beefcake against Ted DiBiase and Mike Rotundo or Leonard Shyster. So I think for the $1 Million Man, I would put what the match he did with the Junkyard Dog.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Yep. And for Erwin R. Shyster, I think I would probably go with the match he did with the 1-2-3 Kid.
Mm-hmm.
Where he beat him.
Yeah.
And then there, of course, there's Yokozuna. That was where Hogan's downfall came. Because had I booked WrestleMania 9, I would have had, before WrestleMania, Hogan challenge the winner between Bret Hart and Yokozuna.
Right.
And I would have the Bret Hart Yokozuna match happen before the Hogan tag match.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the card, Hogan take on the winner of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would have done. Because I think, Hogan did himself a disservice, whether he wants to admit it or not, when he came down there and pretended to care about Bret Hart. I think people wanted to see him slam Yokozuna and whatnot. I think that was good booking, but the way it was done was just shit.
Yeah.
Put a sour taste in people's mouth about Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of Yokozuna, I would probably put his sumo match against Earthquake
Okay.
for the WrestleMania match. Um, and then, of course, Hogan's not back again until he faces The Rock
Mm-hmm.
at WrestleMania 18. For The Rock, I think I would put him in one of his matches with Triple H where he beats Triple H.
Okay.
Yep.
What about just out of curiosity, what about his match with Stone Cold at WrestleMania 19?
Who? Hogan?
The Rock.
No, I wouldn't put that because it was already a WrestleMania match.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
I'd try to go with matches that weren't on
On WrestleMania, yeah, I see what you're saying.
or on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Something that, was great. and you can
Yeah.
compile it on this card for
Yeah.
COVID, and something nice and entertaining. Now, Vince McMahon was the last WrestleMania opponent Hulk Hogan had.
Yeah.
He finished him off with 3 leg drops.
Yeah.
um, Vince, I would have did something different with. I would have had his match with Stephanie McMahon,
Okay.
which would have been interesting.
The I Quit match at No Mercy.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And where Vince beats her, and then I would end it off with a Hulk Hogan bout. And I think for the Hulk Hogan bout, I think I give the match that kind of bypassed him for WrestleMania,
Mm-hmm.
a match with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
That would be what I would have done for WrestleMania 36 COVID. Because I
Right.
think most people can agree that this whole essential business WWE is horseshit. Um, I'm not saying I didn't look forward to the card, you know,
Right.
in watching WrestleMania 36, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know, had it been up to me, they had such a catalog. I would have been back and I would have said,
Yeah.
let's see what we can do. Keep the wrestlers safe because some of them got COVID, and I'm sorry, that's on Vince.
Yeah. Like, look what they had to do with Roman Reigns. They build all this hype up with Roman Reigns versus Goldberg. Spear
Hmm.
versus Spear title and everything. And Goldberg had to lose the belt. He only signed the contract till WrestleMania. So he had to lose it to whoever was going to replace Roman Reigns at that point. And who did
Well,
we get? Braun Strowman.
you want me to tell you what I think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre is supposed to face um,
Goldberg or Rumble,
Goldberg at
right?
Royal Rumble. Guess what's going to happen? Goldberg's
What?
going to beat him. He's going to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Goldberg's going to end up facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Can you
Yeah.
not see that happening?
I can see it.
Yeah,
I can
that's
see
what
it.
I think.
Predictable.
Yeah. But anyway, and some people might say, well, those matches I'm saying are old matches. But if you take some of those old matches that were just great and celebrate Hogan's opponents and then have a
Mm-hmm.
Hogan Flair match at the end of it, you could probably have, and I wouldn't make it a pay per view, you know,
Yeah.
just put it on there. And, we're dealing with a shitty pandemic. This is what we're going to do for WrestleMania. We're going to
Right.
go back. We're going to give you some nostalgia. And I would have done something like that for SummerSlam. I might take a different tactic with that. And,
Right.
I would have tried to do something
Right.
that where people would get something that they could sit down, get a little nostalgia, but I would make sure the Hogan opponents all won their matches,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I would try to schedule matches that were reasonably, something that really highlighted them, I
Right.
wouldn't I
And
yeah.
good. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
thing is with like I could watch all the matches over again. Doesn't matter if I've seen them 1,000 times or 2 times or not at all. I could always watch a match. I don't as long as it was a decent match, it was a good match. Like I mean, I don't mind watching like over and over and over again. So if I know who the winner is, I'm still gonna tune in because it was a classic match. It was a great match. Brings me back to my childhood. It brings me back to nostalgia, you know?
Well, another thing too, I spend more time listening to Jim Cornette rant
Mhm.
about WWE and AEW now than watching wrestling.
Mhm.
If I watch wrestling, I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch some the old matches because I
Mhm.
find them, like, my brother and I were just getting entertained watching Andre the Giant in
Mhm.
All Japan Wrestling
Yep.
taking on Stan Hansen and whatnot, and
Mhm.
it was just we were just loving this because it was back when Andre was mobile.
Right.
Another thing too, and this is a great thing about the internet, Vince McMahon cannot have total control because for years he said Hulk Hogan was the first to slam Andre the Giant.
Mhm.
Or shit.
It was Harley
Antonio
Race.
Harley Race and
Yep.
Antonio Inoki did it in the 70s. And people can say, well, Andre wasn't as big then. He was still plenty fucking big.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
let's
mean,
not,
it's not like he shrunk, over time. I mean, he was still seven
yeah.
whatever.
I mean, there's photos online of Andre being slammed by Harley Race on the concrete outside that ring. I'm like, oh,
Right.
you kind of feel that. But
Yeah.
yep. But Harley Race, I guess, was not on enough steroids for Vince's liking. So,
Yeah.
yep, yeah. No, I think Vince strikes me as a hypocrite.
Yep.
It was a wellness program. I'd like to see that tested on Vince. And then there's the whole Pat Patterson, Terry Garvin debacle, and
hmm
I could go on and on. I
I
plan
wonder
that.
what they're gonna do. I wonder what they're gonna do with the Hall of Fame like from last year because they never really inducted the class. I wonder if they're gonna be the class this year or if they're gonna introduce a new set of class and add last year's with them or what.
Well, there's certainly people that should be in the Hall of Fame. I do know
Uh-huh.
that. Yep.
Owen Hart is one of them, but his widow won't allow it.
I think Demolition should be in the Hall of Fame. They were the
Demolition,
first
yep,
tag team to three-peat.
yep.
Um,
British
yeah.
Bulldog,
I think the British Bulldogs.
yeah, with Dynamite Kid, exactly.
I mean, I think
Yeah,
should be.
yep,
Um, yeah.
agreed.
I'd like to see Velvet McIntyre get in there.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
For
would say
yeah.
put Velvet McIntyre and Princess Victoria, but according to my interview, Princess Victoria said she'll say, "Fuck you, Vince. I'm not going in."
Wanted to get an interview with Velvet McIntyre
Mm-hmm.
because she just fascinated me. I first saw her at the first Survivor Series, where she made two eliminations, including Sensational Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
And McIntyre was so fun to watch. She had a
Yeah.
great look with the hair and the outfit, and she wrestled barefoot
Mhm.
like Jimmy Snuka did back in
Yep.
the day. And I seen her do something that I've only seen Ricky the Dragon Steamboat do since, where she hit a cross body and spun around in circles as her opponent was going down to the mat.
Right.
Um, I wanted to get her on the show, and I reached out to on the Velvet McIntyre Princess Victoria page on Facebook, and
Mm-hmm.
Princess Victoria got back to me, and I guess Velvet's hearing is not the best, and this and that, and that was going to work, but and I didn't communicate a lot with Princess Victoria at the time, but I think it was either the following year or whatnot. I was like, I need to look up Princess Victoria because
Mm-hmm.
I had done the Rowdy Roddy Piper tribute with his son and daughter on the show. I was like, I'd like to do something else with wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, I thought I'd venture back to the McIntyre thing
Mm-hmm.
and oh, let's try Princess Victoria. So I looked up Princess Victoria on YouTube, and she and Velvet, I'm going to tell you, they were a friggin' great tag team.
Mm-hmm.
And Princess Victoria knows how to sell really
Mm-hmm.
well. And
Yep.
yeah, I was just sat here, forget about what's going on in wrestling today,
Mm-hmm.
horse shit. But I watched Princess Victoria for a good hour or two,
Right.
just her matches or her and Velvet and tag
Mm-hmm.
matches, and or Wendy Richter who did
Yep.
cage matches even. And I was like, wow. I said, I'm going to get this woman on, and I'm so glad I did. Right now to date, Princess Victoria is my longest interview. 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Nice.
Yep.
If you
And
want another wrestler on the show, I could get you the email of JTG. I don't know if you want to
I
interview
don't
him.
know who that is,
Uh,
you know. And quite
yeah,
frankly, I'm picky. I'm working right now on
yeah.
getting somebody from the Bruno Sammartino family on,
Okay.
you know. Um yeah, I don't know. I know that name, but
Yeah,
it's not on my radar. Um
right.
but a lot of the wrestlers I grew up loving are slowly passing away,
Yeah.
and it's like I didn't get into wrestling until 1987,
Hmm.
and I'm looking over to my side because I got a bag full of those LGN rubber wrestling figures. I love those. You could throw those down a
Hmm.
flight of stairs.
Yep. I used to
Yeah.
have those too. I love them.
I've gotten a bunch of them at the flea market, but I bought about a dozen of them at the 2019 Toronto Comic Con.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
And I got a big bag full of them over there, and I'm like, I wish they would re-release those. Maybe make them a little smaller. There's some of them that they could
Right.
use better poses, I think, because
Right. Now,
they're
go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like with the Hall of Fame though, like there's so many great female wrestlers they can induct, but they inducted the Bella Twins last year that'll probably be in this year now. Like I don't know why they would like they have even classics like Jazz and Molly Holly, Victoria, Velvet McIntyre, Lalani Kai that they could be inducting, and they have the Bella Twins.
I'm gonna be frank with
Miss
you,
Elizabeth.
Miss Elizabeth. Yes. Wow.
How is she not
Oh
in?
my goodness, she was gorgeous. I actually like the Bella twins, to be frank.
I do too, but
Yep.
like wrestling
You know,
skill, like there's a lot more
I agree
talent
with
that
you. I
deserve to be
agree.
in.
But
Yeah.
my introductory to wrestling was in 1987. They had the
Hmm.
Hostess potato chips, and they had stickers in the potato chips of wrestlers,
Hmm.
and there was 20 of them in preparation for WrestleMania 3. And
Hmm.
somebody in the class had one of Jake the Snake Roberts,
Nice.
and I'm a big snake lover, so I saw a sticker with Jake with the snake, and I asked the classmate about it, and told me about Jake putting the snake on his opponents, and I was like, I was kind of invested. And then the first time I was at my cousin's house, we watched wrestling. My brother and I, my older brother and I watched wrestling, and I remember one match on the card that grabbed my attention. This was, of course, just before WrestleMania 3. There was a six-man tag elimination match. On the heel side, they had the adorable Adrian Adonis, King Harley Race, and Randy Macho Man Savage,
Hmm.
who at the time was the Intercontinental Champion. And on the face side, they had the Junkyard Dog, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and the guy who'll be retiring at WrestleMania 3, Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Hmm.
And I became a huge Piper fan with that
Hmm.
match because the match came down to Piper and Savage.
Hmm.
And Piper won the match,
Hmm.
and he really outsmarted Savage to do it. Yep. But Piper won the match, and I was sold. And to me, WrestleMania 3 has never been topped as far as I'm
Hmm.
concerned. And I know they had the classic Ricky Steamboat versus Randy
Hmm.
Savage match on it. Um, but I gotta say, I enjoyed every single match on the card because
Hmm.
something was happening on every single match. Every match seemed to have something going on with it.
Right.
And to me, WrestleMania 3 to me is the greatest WrestleMania in my opinion. That is it. Other
Hmm.
WrestleManias have some great stuff.
Yeah.
I certainly think the Bret Hart Steve Austin I Quit match at WrestleMania
Oh, that
13 is
was
one of the
great.
best. Yep, one of
Yeah.
the best easily. I can't stand Shawn Michaels with his backstage politics. I have a
Yeah.
hard time watching Shawn Michaels because of the shit he used to pull.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do the favor back to Bret Hart for WrestleMania 13. I lost my smile. Like, and you know what happened? He sat out WrestleMania 13 with whatever bullshit. lost his smile, and Bret Hart went on to have this scene-stealing match on the card with Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Great match. But you
Yes.
know what happened at WrestleMania
Hmm.
14? WrestleMania 14, the main event was Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels.
Hmm.
You know why Shawn Michaels didn't want to lose that? Because if he lost to a guy that Bret Hart beat,
Yep. And
yep.
I watched a video the other day on that. Shawn Michaels refused to lose to Steve Austin, but he had no choice because he was about to have back surgery and be out for a number of years.
I also heard that I heard from a number of sources that Undertaker was waiting behind the curtain with his fist taped if Shawn Michaels screwed Austin, like happened with Bret
Nice.
Hart. I'm like,
When
yeah,
I interviewed JTG, he said the locker he was on the Raw roster, and he said the locker room leader for Raw was John Cena and Undertaker was SmackDown. But
mm.
Undertaker would always show up for every now and again on the Raw roster. And he said that he was the type of person that he was very nice, but he was that leader that if you did not do what you were supposed to do and you screwed somebody over, he was always waiting for you in the parking lot because he
Well,
would beat some respect into you.
here's another thing I don't get with WrestleMania too. I don't like the whole pre-show thing.
Yeah,
Put it on the fucking card.
yeah.
That's how it used to be.
The thing is, the pre-show is what, an hour, 2 hours, whatever. Like, if you're gonna have that extra 2 hours before a pre-show, why don't you just start WrestleMania 2 hours early?
And another thing too, you don't need matches to go 25, 30 minutes.
Right.
Look at WrestleMania 3. I
Yeah.
think the longest match was 23 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like and every match like to me just flowed nicely,
You
and
can get a great 7 to 10 minute match
yeah,
out of a
I
mid
wouldn't
card and a 15-minute match for the big main event.
well, you know what? I wouldn't have a match go any more than 20 minutes on
Yeah.
these guys. I would try to
And whatever happened to the 20-minute time limit?
yeah, I know. It's just Vince and his bullshit because he's a moron. I don't care.
Yeah.
He's not I don't consider Vince McMahon a genius. I don't think Bad News Brown or Nails choked him hard enough, as far as I'm concerned.
And I do
You
have
know.
something to let you know. Now, it's not 100% confirmed. I did speak to her already. She gave me the email to set it up, but I probably won't hear back until Monday because I didn't email until Friday evening or so.
Mm-hmm.
But guess who I might have on my show? I'll
My
give you
Little
a
Pony.
hint. I'll give you a hint. Excuse me.
Oh, Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah.
You know what? I like Vicky Guerrero. She
Yep.
did that
I do
one
too.
she did that one WrestleMania where she was in that very short 10 women tag match.
Yep.
But I love the fact that she did the Eddie Guerrero frog splash on
Yep.
Kelly Kelly. It was a
Yep.
nice salute to Eddie. And I think she's back in school or something like that.
She
Getting
is, and she's currently with AEW. I had an email. She gave me the email to AEW,
Mhm.
to their media department, so we could set up an interview. She said she would be honored to do an interview with me. She follows Gravestone Films on Instagram, so I emailed her. I messaged her from that account because if I email her from my personal account, which she doesn't follow, then she won't even get the message. It'll go into like some requested inbox or whatever. So I emailed her from the Gravestone account since she already follows this. She would immediately get it, and she wrote back to me with the next morning, and she gave me the AEW media email, and I emailed them, and she said they'll get back to me when they can. They're very busy with with everybody's getting interviews for all these different shows, so it might take. She said it might take a couple of weeks to hear back. I'm expecting hopefully Monday, but she said it could take a couple of weeks. She said to give it time, but she said she'll do that. They said, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I said, congratulations on your new relationship. She's in a new relationship. I said, and she goes, thank you. I get a lot of flack from people that are big Eddie Guerrero fans saying I'm betraying him and everything like that.
oh,
I said,
she's
don't
not
feel that
betraying.
way. He would want you to move on. She goes, the reason why I chose the guy I'm with is because he respects Eddie Guerrero. He respects that he's in the limelight. Our relationship was in the limelight, and he's always going to be a part of my life, and that's why I chose to be with him because of that reason. And I said, well, I respect you for doing that, but Eddie would want you to move on. He's not here anymore. No, you know what I mean? And she goes,
Mhm.
I completely agree. She goes, and thank you for that. She goes, I hope AEW set up something soon so we can have this interview.
Well, you know
Very
what?
down to earth, nice lady.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Vicky Guerrero. You
Yeah.
know,
She has her own podcast. She said she says she would love to do the interview, but she definitely wants to promote her podcast on it.
sure.
And I asked her, can I talk about your time in the WWE? She goes, when the AEW media team messages you, she goes, you have to ask them because they're my employer and they're the competition of them. So I can, if they say you can, it's not me, because if it was up to me, I would say yes. But it's up to my boss, and with them being competition of the WWE, if they say you can't discuss the WWE with the interview, then you can't, or the interview won't happen, or you can legally be sued because you're talking
Gotcha.
about their competition. And she said the same thing with the WWE. If you're interviewing one of them and they have an AEW wrestler, formerly, and they don't own the rights, obviously, to AEW, and I'm interviewing a WWE superstar, I can't talk about the competition. Now I could talk about indie promotions and stuff like that, but you can't talk about the main competition, which would be AEW in their case.
Well,
It's a mess.
well, I don't have that problem with Princess Victoria.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like even with JTG, I didn't have that issue at all. He said he works on the indies as the champion at one of the indie promotions, but he defends it on all different indie territories. He said you could talk about WWE, my time with WWE, you could talk about my time on the indies. He said it doesn't matter what promotion you talk about because I'm a former WWE superstar and I'm not working for a major competitor of a certain company. So with
Yeah.
Vicky being with AEW, like she can talk about WWE if AEW says she can, because it's like it's just that's the way it is.
Yeah, and now while we're talking about wrestling, you know, I took your advice on Cameo about the Doubtfire Face Challenge for Suicide and Depression
Yeah,
Awareness. And I haven't done it on Cameo in a while because I've been having difficulty getting.
right.
I'd hate it when people responded and not do the challenge, and I'd end up losing that money.
Yeah,
And it's like I think in some cases it's an excuse, but I'll say this: Tori Wilson definitely come through on the Doubtfire Face
yeah.
Challenge, and she was great. And she's somebody I might reach out to have on the show. I figure I
I
kind
reached
of
out to her agent recently. I
yeah.
didn't hear back yet. I don't know if she will reach if they will reach back. I don't know, but I did reach out to her. If I do hear back, I'll definitely let you know and say, hey, they're up for it. Now I did remember the Headbangers.
Yeah.
I reached out to Mosh, to his
Hmm.
agent, and apparently he requests $50 per interview.
Here's the thing with me. I don't mind if somebody has a charity,
Hmm.
and on good faith, I don't mind giving to a charity to have
Yeah,
somebody come on because that helps a third party.
yeah,
But I'm not going to give somebody money to come on my show.
right. That's
You
how
know?
exactly what I feel. And I mean, if it was a really big name and it was an affordable price, for example, and I'm just gonna throw this out of the hat, a Kate Winslet, an Emma Roberts, a Leonardo DiCaprio, like a really big name where they're very, very busy and they're not charging like an arm and a leg where it's like they're ripping you off to get them on your show, like just for their time. Like I'll be like maybe, but a Mosh or like a John Furry from Friday the 13th Part 2 wanted to charge me $150 for an interview,
Oh,
or
really?
yeah, or
Oh,
his agent got
wow.
back, said $150 for the interview, or a Craig Thomas who has been in Friday the 13th Part 7 said $100.
Are you kidding me? I interviewed
No,
Ralph Bakshi for
I
free.
interviewed freaking D Wallace for free,
D.
and
Wallace.
she D Wallace I got for free. She is such a great person that she was told she had to be on set the day of the interview, the time of the interview. She
Hmm.
still didn't cancel on me. She did the interview well, and hair and makeup said I had 20 minutes. She gave me 30.
Yeah.
That's how nice of a person she is, that she made time. And she didn't charge me a thing when she was supposed to be on set filming, even though she didn't know she was going to be on set. They told her, like, literally that morning that she had to be on set. So she emailed me. She told me she had to be on set, but she already made an obligation to me. So she'll do it while she's in hair and makeup. and I have 20 minutes, and she gave me an extra 10. That's how great of a person she is, and she didn't charge me.
Yeah, I got the same deal with Tiffany,
Yep.
um, I was told 20 minutes and she gave me 25,
Right.
you know?
Like, I mean, sometimes the interviews go longer, and some of them are going to be nice and most of them are going to be nice and give it to you. But like, I don't like. First of all, John Furry, yeah, final guy in Friday the 13th Part Two to an extent. And he's charging $150 for me to do a 30-minute interview at most.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. My interviews aren't too long. Now, I understand like your interviews go long and everything, because if they want to watch it, they're really gonna watch the
Oh, come
people.
on, Scotty, you're long-winded. What's with the
I
short
know.
inter
I just don't do a lot of interviews because when I was researching about like interviews and everything, and I listened to it on my perspective as well. I noticed when I watched a video about people doing interviews and like tips and tricks and that, like don't make them over an hour at most or whatever. And
Mhm.
when because I guess like people's attention spans don't last that long. I put that test to the theory. I watched an interview. I couldn't go past maybe 30 minutes. Now, if they want to really watch it, they're going to watch it. For me personally, I usually do 30 to 45 minutes. Now, there is that exception with Nancy McLaughlin, who I had for about an hour and a half, and Adam Marcus for an hour and a half, and Troy Elke, I think is my longest with like almost 3 hours. And
Yeah.
your interview I did with you was about almost 2 hours. There's
Yeah,
an
but
extent,
here's the thing. Here's the thing, and this is what
yeah,
I would tell people. I don't sit here and listen and watch or listen to my interviews.
yeah,
When I'm at work, I work as a cleaner. That's what I do for
yeah,
money. That's how I pay my bills.
yep,
And I work at a time where I'm the only one in the building, unless
yeah,
maybe another somebody they're buffering the floors or something. I will take my phone and I'll put it in my pocket and I'll put my earphones in.
uh-huh,
I will listen to a podcast while I'm
yep,
cleaning.
yep,
That's what I do. Or
right,
if I'm on the computer and I'm writing a film review out or something,
uh-huh,
I could have that going in my ears.
right,
I don't listen I don't care about this. Well, we don't have the attention span.
right,
Well, then I say fuck you, you know? It's like get an attention span.
right,
Bobby Heckman, for example, my director from Victim No More, he listened to my interview with Corey Parker while
uh-huh,
driving to work.
right,
Yeah, and he sent me a text message about it. He said he
yeah,
enjoyed it, blah blah blah. He said that's when he listens to my interviews. He does it while he's
yep,
going. I don't know how far his commute is going to work, but that's when he listens to my
right.
interviews.
And the funny thing is, like, I listened back to some of my older interviews, like especially when I first started and all that, and the audio is sucky. It's really bad. And I compare them to the recent ones I do today, like whether it's the ones over Zoom or the ones with my new microphone, my new audio, and and it's like like you could hear the difference. That's what happens when you first start compared to upgrading to better equipment, because you're like, I like doing these interviews. I want to make this quality better. And eventually maybe I can make money off it at some point. Or if I don't want to make money off it, I could, grow my fan base, stuff like that. Like, I make get money off my interviews. And I don't charge people for it, because I don't want to charge people, to listen to my interviews. I don't want to be like, if you want to listen to me interview D Wallace, then you have to pay $5, a month to get, and this is one of the content. I don't want to do that. That's scamming people, and I don't feel like doing that. But the way like when I host it on my podcasting platform, all you got to do is, like, right before the interview starts, listen to a 30-second clip of me promoting the platform I use. And if you once that you finish listening to that through, I get 3 cents.
Hmm.
So it's very harmless. You know what I mean? You listen to a 30-second ad right beforehand promoting the platform, and I get 3 cents, and you get to listen to the full interview for free with no ads throughout it.
Yep.
And that way is promoting the platform, because they're giving you a platform for free to host your podcast. Like, there's not a lot of places give you this platform for free to do that. They're giving you this platform for free. Don't have to pay anything a month, anything, whatever, like a year or anything, and you get this platform for free. And all you have to do is listen to a 30-second ad, and the content creator can make money off it, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot better than what YouTube is now doing. For example, your videos on YouTube. I don't know when the new terms of use starts. If you're not monetized, it does not matter. You're still now going to get ads in your video and you're not going to make money off of it. But YouTube will, which is stupid. That's the new terms of service. Before it was if you're not a YouTube partner program or whatever, your video does not get ads. As long and obviously you won't make money, but your video won't get ads. Now your video is going to get ads and you're not going to make money, but YouTube will still profit off of the ads,
Well,
which is so stupid.
I don't monetize my, like, I've had people say, "Why don't you
Right,
monetize? Why don't you monetize?" Because I've got friends now that I've interviewed, people that's become good friends,
right.
and a lot of them are not getting residuals because of
Hmm.
shady circumstances. And
Yep.
I feel, they're doing me the pleasure of coming onto my show.
Right.
I don't want to be the next, like, I don't want to use them, you
Hmm.
know? So, I get a
Hmm.
job, I do the podcast for fun. I enjoy it.
Right.
It's always a psych for me when I get somebody on the show that's I knew from such and such a
Hmm.
film or whatever, and
Right.
it's like, wow, they're doing me a favor. So,
Yes.
and I'm involved with all these other things. Like, I'm not making money out the films I'm involved with either,
Right.
but who knows where that will lead. Now,
Right.
somebody wanted to pay me to do this, and I'm certainly willing to
Mhm.
talk about it. But
Right.
my younger brother's my manager, and he's my tech guy, and
Yep.
I kind of swing that stuff by him because, well,
Yeah.
he could detect any shadiness.
Right.
And believe me, I've had people try to talk me into monetizing, and their uh, their intentions were not exactly honorable. And my brother
Yep.
caught those things,
Yep.
but
And I would say if you want to monetize, that's completely up to you. Like, you know what I mean? And I would obviously be honest with my guests if they were to not like flat out tell them, but if they were to ask, I wouldn't lie to them about it because I don't want them to know about it. And if they expected, residuals from it, and I really wanted to interview them, I would that would be something we'd have to get in writing.
mhm,
But I mean, that would be completely up to you if you wanted to monetize. I know one thing is I have a new YouTube channel, which you saw, Slasher Scotty.
mhm,
I'm building my brand from Slasher Scotty, the podcast, to Slasher Scotty, a podcast, but also video creation. And I have all my interviews in its entirety for the first time on there. I mean, would I like to be monetized? Absolutely. I created a Patreon and I have a place where you can get exclusive content, if you like say pay $25 a month or whatever. Now I'm not promoting that, but if you pay $25 a month, then you get like videos or whatever of content that won't be available to the public unless you're in that tier. One thing I can promise you is all of my interviews, none of them will be classified as that. It'll only be video creation because I believe when I'm interviewing a certain celebrity or a guest, they're always going to be free, with the exception of if YouTube puts ads on there and they get money or I get money off of it. The only thing is you would only get like ads, if anything. Like I'm not going to, make you pay $25 a month in order to see a video with X, Y, and Z. Like I will, like if you want to pay $25 a month, you might get, say a review show on a very big blockbuster movie that everybody would like to see. You know what I mean? Something like that. Like I'm not going to charge anybody at all for any of my interviews because that's just not right.
mhm.
That's not right at all.
Well, going back to the wrestling thing,
Yep,
did you see my Tori Wilson Doubtfire Face challenge?
I did, and
How awesome was
that
that?
yes, you sent that to me, and I immediately I don't think I watched it till like the next morning because I think you sent it to me when I was in bed. Because like every time you call me, that's why like I don't answer a lot because I have to be up at 4:30 and I end up
So,
I'm always in bed by 9 o'clock at the latest. But when you sent it to me, I saw it that next morning and I watched it. I'm like, that is freaking cool.
yep, yep. Tori Wilson took a pie in the face for
Yeah,
suicide and depression awareness.
yeah,
That was a great video, and
yeah.
she was awesome. Um, Ariel Teal Piper, Roddy Piper's daughter, also did the challenge. Did you see that one?
I yes, I did. I did. There was one of them. Was it her son? Was it his son? Did he do one?
No, I
Okay.
didn't. I haven't kept in touch with Colt, but I've kept in touch
Okay.
with Ariel.
I think it was Ariel I seen. Oh, it was the people from Howard Stern I didn't see. I
Oh
didn't see
yeah,
that one yet.
yeah. Bobo did it from
Hmm.
Howard Stern Whack Pack, and so did Brent and Caitlin Hatley. Brent and
Yeah.
Caitlin Hatley did it together, which I thought was cool because I found Caitlin on Cameo, and I listened to her introductory, and she said that she could have Brent on with her, and I was like, two birds
Hmm.
with one stone right there.
Yeah.
And they did I thought they did a great video,
Yeah.
but they were being trashed, like
Hmm.
it's by everybody. Like it's
Hmm.
people talking about saying that that's not their place, or who fucking cares?
Right.
You know, they're doing the challenge. And then somebody was saying, well, I hope Greg got his money's worth, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like sitting there thinking, I've got a calendar here Howard Stern did and on behalf of the North Shore Animal League, where he took pictures of his wife with various animals from North
Hmm.
Shore Animal League, because Howard Stern's an excellent photographer.
Hmm.
But Howard Stern will have people that's donated money to North Shore come on his show. So
Hmm.
what's the difference between that and me um, paying a cameo for somebody to take a pie in the face for suicide
Right.
and depression, and people were just trashing them, and I'm like,
Hmm.
I think it just rolls off Brent and Caitlin's back, but I
Hmm.
was I was legit, and I was some happy they did it. And
Right.
the reason I asked Bobo to do it is because I heard Bobo on the Howard Stern show. They were goofing on him, saying he pretty much will do whatever
Hmm.
and say whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
that kind of keyed into me. So I asked Bobo, and he's somebody else that gets trashed a lot, but I'm like, you know what? He's fine with me.
Right.
I thought it was cool,
Hmm.
you know, but I know I tried to get Alexa Bliss to do it because I know she's into the whole anxiety thing. At least, she didn't do a video response like one other person did. But
Yeah.
I think she's in Florida, and I don't think she was able to get someplace to get a pie.
Yeah.
But she's pricey, but I wouldn't leave her off the table. But I reached out to her because I know she's dealt with
Yeah.
depression issues.
Yeah.
What annoys me is these people that get on there and they sing these sad stories about depression and anxiety. Then you throw a doubt fire challenge at them, and they're like, I love your cause, but I'm not going to be able to participate. I'm like, fuck you.
Right.
You get on there and you're selling a book about this.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know what you're doing. Share,
But you're more than happy because it's trending to do the ALS challenge. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
yep, yep. And my dad's got ALS,
yeah.
but it's like people were or doing it because it was trending. But now, but getting somebody to do the Doubtfire challenge is like pulling teeth. But people do
Hmm.
eat fucking Tide Pods
Did you see the latest challenge? People are getting nail files and filing their teeth.
because people are fucking stupid.
Yeah, and they're licking. There's also the COVID challenge. You hear about that one, where you lick a used toilet seat after it was just used.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, your face is priceless when I said it, but yes, that's actually a thing. It's on TikTok. A TikTok COVID challenge.
It's about the same as saying, "Hey, jump off a cliff and see if other people join you."
Yep.
And
Another
then
one that they were doing was the condom challenge. You snort a condom up your nose and put it out your mouth or something like that, or something like that. Yeah, snort a condom or something like that. Yeah, it's disgusting.
done by stupid people,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
No, but Tori Wilson did the Doubtfire Face challenge, and it was
Hmm.
wonderful. And Ariel, Roddy's Piper's daughter,
Yep.
did it, and the cameo ran out for her. But
Hmm.
I I'm still in talks with her, you know, because
Mhm.
she does other things other than well, she's got involved with other stuff like singing and stuff like that
Mhm.
in a few movies. And she actually did the challenge on Cameo, and she did it for free. So this past Christmas, I sent a Cameo request to
Mhm.
Ariel asking about family traditions at Christmas growing up.
Yeah.
I wanted to pay her for a Cameo because, you know, Ariel's the real deal, you know.
Right.
She's not a fake or a phony. And so
Mhm.
I got another Cameo from her where she talks about Christmas growing up in the Piper house, you know.
Because that could be
And
only I can only imagine what that was like.
oh yeah, and I got her to sing some Christmas carols.
Nice. I know now speaking of wrestling though with Piper, like there's a lot of good heels in the WWE, WWF era and everything. I
Hmm.
don't know if there was any heel better than Roddy Piper.
Piper knew how to get heat.
Yeah.
Today they just know how to make me turn the TV off. You
Piper,
know.
he knew how to do his job and he knew how to do it well.
Yep.
He knew what he needed to do.
Another guy that knew how to do it well was Ric Flair.
Ric Flair, yep.
Yep. They knew how to
Flair,
do
yep.
it well. Vince McMahon, as far as I'm concerned, actually, even the writers he's got under him, you know, they're so
Yep.
fucking stupid.
Now we have Ric Flair aligning with I forget who it is now off the top of my head because I haven't really watched wrestling in a while. And Ric Flair is turning on his daughter Charlotte.
I gotta say this: I love Charlotte Flair. I think
Uh-huh.
she is very talented. You
Very.
know. Yep.
It's in her genes, I can tell you that.
Yep. I think the women's division is really great.
Yep.
Um, but no, I can't. I can't watch the wrestling. Is just stupid now.
Yep.
It's just
Not as good
fucking
as it used to
stupid.
be.
No, I'll go back and I'll watch the old wrestling. You know.
Yep.
Yep.
I'll
Yep.
watch maybe up like from the 80s up until maybe 2003 if I'm
Oh,
lucky. And that's the farthest I can go.
I'll watch the 70s. I
Yeah.
love it when I hear people complain because they said Bruno Sammartino would spend 10 minutes in a headlock or an armbar. No, Bruno Sammartino just knew how to wrestle, you know.
Yeah, that's called properly selling a wrestling hold.
And Bruno held the belt longer than anybody, including
How long did he
Hogan.
hold it? Like 8 years?
8 years, yep.
Yeah.
Because every time, like Bruno wanted out, and they end up keep bringing him back and keep bringing him back, you
Yeah.
know.
And it was
But
great because they got him inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I was at the Hall of Fame ceremony, the one he was inducted at, and they inducted him in the Hall of Fame before he passed away. And the
yeah,
same thing with the Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior died like what 2 days after his induction, and one day after his appearance on Raw. It was
yep.
like he got his beef settled with Vince and with the company and everything. Got his induction in the Hall of Fame, and it was like he had closure and he died.
You know what? Here's my thing. The only Hall of Fame that counts to me is the Wrestling
The
Hall of
Pro
Fame.
Wrestling Hall of Fame, yeah,
Yep,
because
yep,
it's an actual physical Hall of Fame.
yep.
And that's what Princess Victoria said. I asked her if Vince, hypothetically, Vince calls you, says, "Hey, Vicky, would you want to be in the WWE Hall of Fame as part of the class of XYZ, whatever?" And she told me that the first thing she would ask is, "What Hall of Fame?" Because there is no actual physical Hall of Fame. It's like you get a ring and that's it. You're on a list of people inducted into a Hall of Fame without a physical building. And then she'll be like, "Absolutely not. Fuck no."
Well, there's a story that Paul Orndorff, when he got put in the Hall of Fame,
Mhm.
you know, he went to his hotel, had his meal, and he left the plaque or whatever at the hotel. He said he keeps the Wrestling Hall of Fame ring, you know, that he kept, you know.
Yep. Superstar Billy Graham actually sold his Hall of Fame ring on eBay for like $15,000.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And
He's
he says
some.
that
Yep.
he said I'm in the Hall of Fame like in by WWE standards, but in my standards, I am not in that Hall of Fame. He said I
Yeah.
sold the ring, I sold the plaque, I sold everything they gave me on eBay for the Hall of Fame, and I don't want anything to do with it. Now there's a petition going around, not by the fans, but actually by I think it was started by Mick Foley, if I'm not mistaken, to get Donald Trump out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, like here's the thing. Here's where I stand on that. They say they got a celebrity winger. There's certain things I can allow. Mr. T, I get,
Cyndi Lauper,
and
who isn't in it yet, but I could see her being in it.
Cyndi
I get.
Lauper, I get. Cyndi
Yeah.
Lauper in many ways, and Roddy Piper credits Cyndi Lauper for WrestleMania, not Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan. And I get what
Yeah.
he's saying because her association with Captain Lou Albano, having him in
Yeah.
these music videos and stuff,
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper propelled a lot of that.
The rock and roll of wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I remember it. And I can understand Mr. T going in, and I can understand Cyndi. I don't know why Cyndi Lauper's not in,
Right.
but
But Pete Rose, who else? I don't even know who else is in it. Pete Rose, like celebrity wise. Yeah, Pete Rose, Drew Carey.
now if a celebrity wrestles,
Yeah.
then okay, maybe down
But
the
Drew
road.
Carey, like I still can't picture him being in because I don't see what he did in one Royal Rumble match. Being
Here's another example. Andy Kaufman.
yeah.
I would be totally okay with him going in the Hall of
What
Fame.
about Bob Uecker? He's currently in. He
No,
interviewed
but
Andre the Giant. Got choked by Andre the Giant.
I
Remember that?
don't know. I'm thinking no, but Andy
Yeah,
Kaufman, I would definitely
I can
go
see Andy
with
Kaufman.
because of his whole thing with Jerry Lawler, and
Right.
that was back when kayfabe was.
Yep.
Today it's
Yep.
just fucking stupid.
Yep.
It's just fucking stupid.
Yep. And
I
like,
did, yeah,
yeah. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna say now they got it now so they can have these fake crowd chants because
Yeah.
they know just how stupid their product is. But I heard that this whole thing where you could have the dome where you can have all these
Thunderdome. Yep.
Thunderdome where you can have all these pictures of
Yep.
yourself all around like there's an audience when
Yep.
you're watching from your computer. People abuse that to death.
My friend was actually on that, and they have to be on an hour before the show starts because they give them a list of the rules, and if you break the rule, you're blacklisted from any WWE event.
You know what? They can kiss my ass.
I don't know
Wait,
if that means when there's crowds, if the crowd is allowed to be back in, if you can still be in the crowd, or if it just means you can't be in the Thunderdome
well,
anymore.
first off,
But
Vince
still,
McMahon for all of whatever it is he injects in himself, I don't believe at all he's muscled up on his own.
Mhm.
As far as I'm concerned, he's a big fucking pussy, and I'm not saying that to talk like a big man. He's a fucking pussy.
Yeah,
Bret Hart punched him out. Bad News Brown and Nails choked the shit out of him. He's a pussy. I could
yeah.
take a grades. I could take a somebody at the local high school could probably kick his ass in a
Mhm.
fight. And of course, we know Shawn Michaels is a pussy. Yeah, he'll always be whatever and whatever in a real fight. But I don't think Vince is tough.
Mhm.
I think he puts on a big show.
Yep,
But
yep,
no, I don't like what the product is today.
yeah,
But I do like the old product. But yeah, I was saying Tori Wilson did the Doubtfire challenge, and so did
yep,
Ariel and a couple people from the Howard Stern show. But I've kind of pulled away doing it on Cameo for a while because it's like financially, if they're not going to do it, then I don't want to give them money.
right.
And
And
another
even if they
thing,
don't do a video, you get your money back. But if they give you a video saying I can't get to a store because of COVID, then you're out, whatever it was that they
yeah.
cost.
So and that's another thing too. I know people that I've interviewed that said they want to do it, but they can't until COVID lets up. And you know what? That's fine.
Yep,
I don't want anybody affected by COVID because of a pie challenge I throw out. So,
yep.
but I don't know when COVID's going to fuck off and go away, but it can't
Yeah.
leave soon. I do know that there's a vaccine, and
Yep.
I was actually listening to Drum Dums, Lee McCoy, on
Relative?
on huh?
Relative?
Lee
McCoy?
McCoy, the Drum Dums channel. You find it on YouTube's. Lee McCoy got the COVID
Oh wow.
vaccine, and he
Yeah.
said, he feels perfectly fine. Because you got
Mm-hmm.
these people are like, I won't take the vaccine. I get a flu shot every year, but it's like,
I don't know if it's coincidence or not. I don't get the flu shot anymore because every time I got the flu shot, I literally got the flu. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I don't know if it's just coincidence or what it is, but that's why I don't get the flu shot anymore because I always ended up getting stuck with the flu after it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
another thing I need to bring up too, like 2021 has started out really harsh as well because I've been notified about two of my guests passing away in the
Mm-hmm.
during the last week. Jessica Campbell, who was in the movie Election, passed away December 29th, and I just found out about it this week. She was only 38.
Wow.
You know, I was so glad to get her on the show,
Mm-hmm.
and she was always active online. But that was a shock to me.
Peter Mark Richmond. Oh, that was
Peter Mark.
horrifying.
Yeah, but here's one thing I'm going to say about Peter Mark Richmond, though. According to Wikipedia, he died of natural causes,
Mm-hmm.
which that's great. He didn't die of COVID or something. He
Right.
was he was 93 years old, so he lived his life.
He lived a long life, which is
Yep.
great.
So I think he died peacefully.
Right.
I did message his daughter Kelly last
Mm-hmm.
night to offer my condolences, and I heard back.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very thankful to hear from me. But
Here's a little, I wouldn't say funny story. I always say funny when I'm talking about something. But anyways, I first heard about Peter Mark Richmond's passing. I was uploading all my full interviews to my my actual new YouTube channel /Scotty, and
hmm
I got like 3 comments on there, 2 comments on there that said R.I.P. And I'm like, what? When did he die? And I went to Google and I seen that he passed away that morning, like the same morning. And I seen it like I read the RIP comments at like in the evening, and I seen that he passed away. It was in the morning or whatever, and I'm like, oh my god, like oh my god,
and as far as I'm concerned, he's the best part of Jason Takes Manhattan.
oh yeah,
Like, because every time Professor McCullough's on screen, he kind of takes you out of the movie, but not in a negative way.
right,
Like, everything from the biology project to him
yeah,
hunting down the deckhand. Like, I just, and I've had him on the show twice. I was so
right.
thankful to have
So
gotten him
you're
twice.
you're telling me that Toby wasn't the best part about the movie?
Jeepers. I've interviewed three people from Jason Takes Manhattan, and that movie had Paramount fucked off and just gave them the budget they needed to shoot the
It would
movie.
have
That
been great.
it might have been a great movie,
It would
but
have been something totally different. It wouldn't have been Jason Takes a Boat. It wouldn't have been Jason Takes Vancouver. It would have literally been Jason Takes Manhattan.
I have no problem with a portion of it taking place on a boat.
Yeah,
Fine, but
but like
it
three
wasn't what
quarters of
it.
the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember I interviewed Peter Mark Richmond, and I asked him what did you think about the scenes with Charlene Martin who played Tamara with the biology project, and he goes, "Huh, kind of turned me on a little bit, but." And I laughed. I was like, "This is funny. He's funny."
Very gracious guy.
Yeah.
Very gracious. Yep.
Yep. And I asked him, I said, what what was it like doing that scene? And he said, Charlene was a little nervous because she had to be basically half naked, and I'm this established actor, and I'm a lot older than her, and we're taping it for a movie. Like, she was really nervous.
hmm
So she felt we got her more comfortable for the scene, and he said that oh, what was it? Oh, what did he say? How did he say it? Something about that it was well done, but he thinks that that a lot of people like on set were like making like jokes because of their age difference with it. Like they were kind of get ribbing her about it, like joking about her with it.
Mm-hmm.
To like it's just something that he wishes that one thing he could have changed about it. Like it was like basically being back in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And he wishes that they could have changed that because like there was a lot of ribs about their age difference and about her, her she's doing it obviously to get a good grade to seduce him, but he's much older and everything, and she was really nervous about it, but he was able to help relax her and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he also said when she had to do her death scene, she was really nervous about it as well. Like he said that the director Rob Heaton actually got in his underwear to make her feel comfortable for that scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so and of course we lost David Outlander last year, who played
Hmm.
Squiggy. I had him on the show. Um, Daria Nicolodi from Deep Red. I got her the February before she passed away. So
Right.
I'm like, I was interviewing Sean Clark yesterday, and one of the questions I asked him, I said, "Does this ever? This doesn't get easy, does it?" And he said,
Yeah.
"No." He said the most difficult thing is to go through his client list on his phone and delete their number when they pass. He said that is
Yeah.
so hard to do.
Yeah.
But he said there's a couple of them he hasn't deleted. He said he's still got texts from Corey Haim. He said he just can't get rid of that. And he's got the last voicemail he got from Steve Dash, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. And it's funny because like I had so many interviews set up with with some actors, and then they passed away like a week or two later, like before the interview was supposed to happen. And it was so hard to cross their name off of my calendar. It's like I can't do the interview anymore because now they're passed. You know what I mean? Like it was scheduled, and now I have to replace them. And if I could, and it was like, oh, it was horrible. Like one of them was Steve Dash. One of them was Dominic Braskia, who played Joey in part five. He was another one. There was a couple others as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there was a couple others that just passed away, a week, a couple days after we set something up. And it must have been sudden because like obviously they were in good enough condition, couple days to a week prior to do an interview. So it had to be something, sudden, whether it would be heart attack or whatever, and it's sad. It never gets any easier.
No, no. I think the hardest one for me right now was Jessica Campbell, because she was only 38 and she had 11-year-old son that
Right.
you know
Yeah. I'm. It's sad with Peter Mark Richmond, but I look at the positive of it, which is he lived a long life.
he lived a long life and he
He
died
had
of
a good, not
died
it
of
wasn't
natural
COVID.
causes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah,
And
he
he had a great career.
mm-hmm,
His legacy's gonna live on, and Jason Takes Manhattan and all of his classic movies, even though that was probably one of the weakest Friday the 13th. But I mean,
yeah,
also like he did a lot of great movies, TV shows. He was in Three's Company.
mm-hmm,
Like, you know what I mean? Like his legacy's gonna live on in the work he did and made people laugh and all that.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so glad I got him on the show. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Isn't it the worst thing though when you're like, I can get to them, eventually, and then they pass away before you can get to them? It's like, damn, I wish I could have gotten them before that. So like the fact that you got Peter Mark Richmond not once but twice, is amazing. Like even Ted White, he's up there in age. He's still alive, thank God, and hopefully he'll be alive for a long, long time to come. But the fact that we got to interview him,
I got him
before,
twice as well.
yep, before he passed, it's great that you get to get them on before they
Yeah,
pass away, which is,
I had interviewed Dick Miller 5 months before he passed.
mhm,
And Ernest Harada from Rosemary's Baby, another one that passed away about 5 months after I interviewed him.
right.
Um, one that really got me was Daria Nicolodi, who was in Deep Red, the Dario Argento film.
Mhm,
She had turned me down in 2016 when I
right.
approached her about an interview on Twitter.
Mhm, yeah.
She was polite, but she turned me down. She said she got tired of talking about the 7 Argento movies that she had done and whatnot. And I kind of let it drop. It was
Hmm.
frustrating, but I didn't get saucy with her because sometimes, you can come back to it.
Yeah.
Well, what had happened was in 2019 at Horrorama, one of the guests was Lamberto Bava, who's the
Hmm.
son of Mario Bava. Lamberto is also a filmmaker. Well, he had Daria in one of his movies, and Daria was also in the final Mario Bava movie
Hmm.
called Shock. And so I was like, the, last year was the 45th anniversary of Deep Red. So I was like, I am going to repitch this and see what I can do.
Right.
So I repitched it and I threw in the Babas and whatnot. And I still got the Twitter text right now. Um, she said this interview will likely not happen. That was what she said. But um, I indulged her enough. Like I sent her. I told her what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
She came back at me and she said, "I'll do the interview on 2 conditions." She said, "One, I want to celebrate Mario Bava because she absolutely loves him,
Right.
you know." And she said the other thing she wanted to do was celebrate her daughter, Asia Argento.
Hmm.
And I said, "Yeah." She
Why
gave
not?
she gave me her number in Rome, Italy,
Hmm.
and I had her on. By the end of the interview, she admitted she was not the best with me back in 2016, but she
Hmm.
said she had a lot of fun doing this interview. And
Right.
I kept Argento questions to a minimum, but I
Yeah.
did talk about Deep Red because
Hmm.
I did have some questions. I brought up Suspiria,
Yeah.
and I asked her about working with a young Jennifer Connelly and Phenomena or whatever they call that. Uh, I think in America it was called Creepers, but
Okay.
I don't know. I botched that probably. Then I moved on to Mario Bava. I'm working on Shock and Lamberto Bava and the film that she did with him. And then we talked about Asia Argento, and I had a wonderful interview with her. And I was so
Hmm.
glad I reached back out. When I heard that she passed away last year, I was like, I just had her on the February before. She passed away last fall. I was like, I'm so glad I reached out again.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when I hear this stuff, I just thank God that I got the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
yeah. But yeah, as Sean Clark said, it doesn't get easy.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Nope. But yeah. Now we're going to get to this here in a minute, but you did meet Bobby Heckman, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, are you involved in any way on 13 Fanboy?
I just have a thanks at the end credit, and I got, of course, get the Blu-ray and the script and all that. I think I spent maybe like $50 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously with COVID and student loans and everything like that, I wasn't able to really get involved heavily as I would have liked to with it. But even though I still work from home, during COVID, student loans rack up a big price of everything, and I wasn't able to do that, but I did want to contribute a little something anyway. So I spent $50 on something. Yeah.
Are you involved with Victim No More?
I am. I donate. I didn't know about that until after the crowdfunding campaign was over, and I became friends with Bobby Heckman, and I saw that he only has one, I believe, perk left, and he's willing to do it outside of the crowdfunding where you PayPal him. and you can get an IMDb credit, a thank you at the end of the movie, and all that, and then you can get like I think an autographed Blu-ray or something like that, and it was like $35, so I did that. And then I'm also involved with, I don't know if you know Josh Graves.
I know the
Um,
name.
yeah, I'm involved with one of his movies, The House That Eats Flesh, as an associate producer.
Yeah, I was talking to Troy Elke. I said, I call it the flesh that eats shit. Not a mockery of the film, but
Right.
I go back and forth with Troy Elke because
Yeah.
we both have these
Hmm.
questionable sense of humor.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
I'm
I'm
involved. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not involved with the House that Eats Flesh or Massacre
Yeah.
Academy because it's like, and here's something that's, I know Noelle Berger's experience. I get a lot of people hitting me up with their projects, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I've got finances. I haven't.
Right.
I think it was Z Dead End. I think was the last one I pitched in with, and it's like
Right.
that's got to be enough for at least a while. I
Right.
can't contribute to everybody's projects. I need to
Hmm.
make sure and I'm probably going to stick to projects that, like your 13, I would do the 13 fanboy sequel whenever that
Right.
happens, um but
Hmm.
I gotta slow down on it because it's like,
Yeah.
and look, God bless these people. I hope their projects go well. I
Yep.
love some of the ideas, like Jim of the Dead. That sounds funny, but I can't contribute
Yeah.
to all this. I just paid a $3,400 Visa bill from Christmas, you know,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
I paid that, and a lot of that went towards, tires for my car and whatever else I was doing
Hmm.
with Christmas. Christmas is always a busy credit card time, but I
Yep.
mean, I paid it off, but it's like I can't do all these films. I can't get involved.
Right.
My hat goes off with them. I hope they don't take it the wrong way, but I just can't. I'm
Right.
I don't make money off this
Yeah.
podcast. And I think people look at me like I do, and no, I don't. And
Right.
they see me my credit on 13 Fanboy. I don't know if I can do a 13 Fanboy again
Right.
because that was the priciest one I paid, and I've had Tracy Savage on my show a couple of
Right.
times, and she's very well aware of why I paid for it. I
Right.
had a big crush on her, but
Yep.
my
Yeah.
picture's in a scene with her, and
Right.
stuff
And the
like that.
thing is, like, even if you can like contribute to somebody's project, though, you could still contribute by sharing it, and they should still be as gratefully thankful, because if you share that and three of your friends donate to it because they like the project, you're helping out in a bigger way than donating yourself.
Yeah, well, my hat goes off to them.
Yeah.
I hope they do well, but I kind
Yep.
of had to pull back. You know.
Yeah. Understandable though. And
Hi,
I know,
kitty. Hi,
oh, she is
kitty,
so
kitty.
cute.
It's a he.
Oh,
Kitty, you hear
he's
that,
so
kitty?
cute.
Can you hear that, kitty, calling you a she? You
I'm
hear
involved
that?
in a I'm actually working with Noelle Berger on a movie.
Yeah,
Yep, I don't know if you knew that or not.
yeah, I did know.
Yep.
Kitty, are you embarrassed? My
So
cat's
cute.
like, my cat's like, I'm embarrassed.
Oh,
I'm
he is so adorable.
embarrassed. He's my buddy.
Let me guess, that's the infamous Skittles.
This is Skittles.
Or shall I say the famous Skittles?
He's like, I'm not liking this.
He is so cute.
Yeah, he's my buddy.
Aw.
Yeah. Oh, there he goes. He's like Jeepers, shaking his head like, thanks for that.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, on my channel, I've actually got a playlist of Skittles videos I've done. Because when I couldn't get into the station to do my show,
Mhm.
I was like doing some stuff on my channel to just keep it relevant, and
Yeah.
I did some haul videos from conventions and a mailing. The first mailing I did was Bobby Heckman one. Sent me
Mhm.
a big package and
Right.
a bunch of stuff, and Yeah, actually, I'll show you something.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, okay. Yeah, I got it. I showed this to Sean Clark, but I'll show it to you. This
Okay.
was pretty cool. Oh, there's my 13 fanboy
Oh,
bag.
that's
But
nice.
back when Tom Matthews was still in it.
You're right.
But this is really cool. Speaking of Ted White, he sent this to me.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
autograph Jason
That's so
hockey
cool.
mask, along with
Nice.
photo of Kimberly Beck doing some household
Nice.
chores, hammering in the. Oh, no.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. I was happy to get that because Ted White is my favorite. Jason.
Yep.
Yep.
A
I think
lot
he.
of people say Kane Hodder is theirs. Mine, I would have to say, is also Ted White.
Well, Ted White, I think, was the scariest.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
running was his idea. I like the fact that he was like scant inches behind Kimberly Beck.
I do too.
Like, that was just
I like Jason when he was a human, not a zombie. When he ran, when he was, a human with the brain. I like
yeah,
that.
yep. But instead, and then when he got to part 8, when he was able to teleport.
And when he not even this the teleporting, but he was like a slime ball. And then he turned into
Yeah,
a little baby.
yeah, but I can, I have a hard time dealing with part 7. Is the whole thing with the final guy thing.
Mhm.
I dealt with it in part 6 and part 9 because at least the final guys were resourceful.
Yeah.
I got nothing against Kevin Blair. I could not deal with him in part 7.
And I understand that they wanted to include him because of the whole, romance thing with Tina. They could have still done that, but why not kill him the fuck off? Why did he
I
have to
got the
survive?
idea why even have him in the movie to begin with because he was just
Right.
there as a love interest.
Right. I mean,
But
I still don't understand why did he survive? Like, why didn't they just kill him?
here's a problem I had with it. I in part 6, Jason Lives. We got Haas Horsack on the screen for the opening scene with
Uh-huh.
Tom Matthews, and John Polillo was so funny, and you really like him in that bit of the opening, and he ends up getting his heart punched out through his chest at the beginning of Jason Lives.
Right.
But in that little bit of time he's on screen, you like him.
Right.
One of the worst sequences to me in the Friday the 13th franchise to me is in part 7. Now, granted, I think part 7 is better than Jason X, but I won't get into that. But part 7 had the single worst scene in the franchise, in my opinion, and that was where Jason flings Tina out of the way, and he's being shot at by Kevin Blair, Nick. And he does something so uncharacteristic for Jason. He slaps the gun out of his hand and shoves him into the boat. Jeepers, Haas could have been so fucking lucky in part
And you
6.
can't even say that Jason, even though that's a different movie, Jason can't rip through somebody, put his hand through somebody's body because he did it earlier in the movie to Dan, the wood guy,
Yep.
right
So
through his back and ripped his neck back.
I hated that sequence. And nothing against Kevin Blair. It wouldn't have mattered who it was. I thought it was a shitty scene.
Yeah.
It. Oh,
I mean,
I
Kevin
hated.
Blair was just doing what he was paid to do. He was just doing what he was given. I mean,
I
you
would have
can't blame
ended.
him. I blame
Uh,
the writer.
I would have ended part 7 with the house, like when it's burning
Yeah.
down and explodes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would have ended it there.
I think that would have been a perfect ending. And then you see the whole, then it skips the whole dad thing and everything in between, like everything after the
And then the
blow up.
following
And then it goes right
morning,
to the end. Yep.
the following morning, the smoke is clearing and whatnot, and then have maybe Jason's hand bust out a part of the roofing or something like that
Right.
on the
Just keep
ground,
it. I think you could just
you
keep the
know?
part where it busts through the roof earlier in the movie and put it at the end.
Yeah, it's like,
It was like out of sequence, that whole ending.
you know, like look, Adrienne King in Friday the 13th, she was isolated by herself. She was stuck to her own devices.
Right.
Then you get Laura Park Lincoln, who's the only one I've interviewed from part 7,
Hmm.
and I love Laura, but Telekinetic Tina did not need a male crutch with her.
No.
I would have liked to, like, Jeepers, Alice would have been so lucky in part 1 to have telekinesis,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But
I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, but isn't Alice the only one that did everything on her own out of every Friday the 13th movie?
I think so.
Alice is the only one.
The only one, I wish they would go back to that, because like, sequences where Adrienne King, like, when she hears the loons and she's like, what am I going to do? It's so pitch silent,
Right.
and then finally, Larry Brenda's body goes through the window,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that
Right.
really
And
works.
before people start bashing me or Greg about, oh, Alice wasn't the only one. What about Chris Higgins? You had Ali who distracted Jason. So there. Don't
Yeah.
come after us for that.
But here's one thing too. Amy Steele in part 2 had enough time on her own.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yep.
really got it with her, and
Hmm.
sh- she had enough time on her own where it
Yeah.
was like, as I remember when I first saw part 2, it was like I didn't know
The
whether
thing is
Paul
with
was
Paul,
coming
it
back.
wasn't he helped her, but it wasn't to the fact that he was like a Nick or a
Hmm.
Reggie the Reckless, Tommy Jarvis type of thing. Like it was all like it was mostly all of Amy Steele, aka Ginny, and then Paul came in at the end to assist.
Now with part 3, um, Chris gave a great fight. I'll say
Yeah.
that. But I'll say one thing: had it not been for Ali, the biker,
Hmm.
she was toast.
Yeah.
She was
I think it would have been a better twist if we had um if we had Debbie be the first final pregnant final
cheaper.
girl.
You're really copying me. What I was gonna say. You know what? I had a huge crush on Tracy Savage. Seeing that
Yeah.
movie, I think she's gorgeous. I still think she's beautiful, and she's the reason I got involved with 13 Fanboy, much to her delight.
Mhm.
But um, I would have had Debbie be the final girl because she was proud. Like, and Tracy Savage and I talked about that, how the pregnancy thing seemed to have been forgotten.
Yeah. And the thing is also, and I think they threw the pregnancy thing in there on a side note, they threw that in there just for a shock factor of when she dies, you killed an unborn child. But that's
Yeah,
beside the point.
you don't
I
see the
think
you don't
the
see
thing
the
is, like, she
fetus in
had
the body.
premarital sex, which is okay because she was in a committed relationship. It wasn't like a rendezvous hookup type of thing, just going to party and have sex. You know what I mean? She was in that relationship. She was going to be a family with Andy and the kid.
Well, I would have made her the final girl.
I think it
She
would have been
was she
great.
was also the only one out of the bunch that didn't shit all over Shelley.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
the only one.
Yep.
So I don't know. I got issues with things in the series. I
What do you think
love.
about? Oh, sorry. What do you think about Chili as an actress?
I love the stoner stuff in the
I did,
movie.
yeah.
I thought that
The
was a
death
nice.
scene. Whew.
Well, it was a different death scene, the fire poker.
Yeah.
I love Kimberly Beck as a final girl. She
Yeah, I
doesn't
thought
get
she was
in
good.
as Trish Jarvis. I don't think she gets enough credit,
Hmm.
but boy, she really
Yeah.
handed it to Jason.
Yeah. Melanie Kinnaman, I thought she was great too. Pam Roberts.
Yeah, dreamy. I love Melanie Kenneman.
That's good.
Um, Now, of course, Tom Matthews was what you call the final guy in part 6, but I'm going to say one thing in defense of Jennifer Cook as Megan.
Hmm.
It was a well-developed character.
Yeah.
She wasn't just the love interest.
Right.
I love that they had the first car chase in there. They
Hmm.
had that. They, I like what they did with Megan Garris. I thought the character
Yeah.
was great. You know,
Yeah.
So I let it go for that, and I let it go for part 9 because Stephen Freeman was I like the character, but part 7 and 8 I had a problem with the final guy
Hmm.
situation, especially with part 7, because at least with
Yeah.
part 8, I mean Scott Reeves gets knocked out once, but friggin'
And he gets knocked out in a way that you would actually get knocked out. He doesn't get shoved into a canoe.
yeah, like oh my goodness, like
And he gets knocked out when that sanitation worker is about to get killed.
yep,
So it's not like, like Jason swats at him like a little sissy, like to get the gun out, and then he actually
yeah,
gets, yeah.
yep, yep. But nonetheless, I could go on and on. People talk
Yeah.
about Rowan and Jason X. She was effective at the beginning of the movie. It wasn't scary. They had too many people. I personally, I like the female android in that movie. That was the only
Yeah.
one I liked.
Yep.
Um,
What was it? KM-14?
yeah, Lisa Ryder. To
Yep.
me, she's the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Uh, to me, Jason X is the room of the franchise.
I should reach out to her to see if she'd be up for an interview with me.
I doubt it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because they
Yeah.
couldn't get her. They couldn't get her on Crystal Lake Memories.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were some people that they just couldn't get. Did you get that box set?
I did.
I love that box set.
I love it too.
Yep.
I know. I'm surprised they got Megan, Jennifer
Uh,
Cook.
they got her for Crystal Lake
They
Memories.
did. I
Yes.
was surprised because she doesn't like to do much with the franchise. Because she's trying to not really with the franchise, but acting in general. She's kind of laying low, and the same thing with Rachel Howard, who played Chili. They didn't get her because she's a nurse now, and that was her first and only acting gig, from what I was told,
Mm-hmm.
by somebody in part 3, and she didn't want to do it. Now I couldn't get Larry Zerner. I'm gonna try to get him again. But and if he turns me down, it's the last time I'm reaching out to him. But he doesn't want to talk about it because he's answering the same questions over and over and over again.
I reached out to him even for like he turned me down,
Hmm.
and then I reached out to him again about Hearts of Darkness, the making of the Final Friday, because
Hmm.
I guess he's part of that as well. And it's like I never heard back, but he read the message, and I'm kind of like, you know what? I kind of washed my hands of it
Yeah.
because that to me is, I mean, I don't want to trash the guy, but it's like if I see him at a convention, like, does he really expect me to come up to his table?
Right.
You know,
Yep.
like I'm sorry, I'm not important enough to talk to. But
Right. I mean, if I'm at a convention, and I'll meet the people that I interviewed first. And if I have any money left over, maybe I would go to the person that turned me down or kept me on red. But I'm not going to go out of my way for them. I'm going to keep the people that was like, yeah, I would love to do an interview with you.
hmm
You know what I mean? Because I was good enough for them to spend their time to talk about and reminisce about a movie that we love.
hmm So I don't know. I would have liked to have had Larry Zerner on,
Yeah,
but I mean, I had Peter Mbraki on twice for Crystal Lake Memories, and he was
nice,
great.
nice.
But yeah, I've enjoyed doing this, and of course, we definitely got to get to this.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, I did want to ask though, when you met Noelle Berger and Bobby Heckman, two people that I know fairly well but never personally met.
Right.
um, Bobby's great. Bobby's
He
great.
is.
I signed an NDA for Victim No More, so I'm not allowed to talk about any of the people he's going to have in that. But but I am really looking forward to what he does with that.
Hmm.
But but what was it like meeting Bobby and Noelle?
It was great. I first met Noelle before Bobby. And it was funny how we met because she was supposed to come to the convention to meet me and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up talking to what's his name? Daniel Brooks, I think his name is. He's like involved with another project thing Noelle's doing. I was talking to him and everything like that. And I was talking to him about Noelle, and I was telling him how great she is. I'm glad I wasn't trash talking her because I didn't know what she really looked like in person because I never met her, just saw pictures. And she goes, thank you for saying that, Scotty. She like just walks up and like, I'm like, oh, thank God I wasn't trash talking you because she just was right there when I was talking about her. Like she was like walking right there to come say hi to me, and bam, there she was. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, no way. And like it was so great to see her. And she said that after the whole convention and everything was done, she messaged me. She goes, I knew you were adorable and a great person, but when I met you in person, I felt such a different positive energy. It was amazing. Like it was great meeting you. Like you lit up the entire time. Like you were like super sweet, super
Oh,
great.
wait till she
Like
sees you in your boxers.
she still did. She bought the movie, but she still didn't watch it all the way through. And then I asked her if and then we were talking about Bobby Heckman, and she said that Bobby Heckman was like right up, uh, maybe I'd say a couple inches up, you know, the line where our table was. So I went up there and I met him and introduced myself, and I'm like, yeah, you're on my Facebook and all that. We talked a little bit over a minute. He's like, oh yeah, I remember you. You're the guy that has that indie movie coming out there. That's all the rage in this area. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Bobby Heckman just had a birthday,
Yep.
and it said on Facebook 45 years old. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm 48. I said, Bobby, what's with all the gray hair?
I know.
He said he's
Yep.
had it since age 22. Of course, my best friend Colin here in Fredericton has gray hair. He got in high school, so it does happen. But it's like,
Yep.
Bobby, you look older than you are.
But Bobby, he was really cool. I got to meet him. I bought a couple of Halloween DVDs off of him, and
Mhm.
we're talking about Victor No More. And I told him I would like to do a crowdfunding, help him with his crowdfunding, but I don't have. Yeah, I guess it's over with at the time. It was over at the time or whatever. And he's like, no worries. He said I do plan on having something open up, like where I can give people a last chance to be involved with it because of COVID and everything like that. So if you want to be involved with it, let me know, and we'll set something up. And I'm like, okay. So I seen he started doing that. I don't know how long ago it was, and I messaged him and asked him to do it, and then he offered help me with Kimberly Beck if that's see if he get what he can do there, get me to interview her, which is really cool. But they're both really nice in person.
Yep, yep. Well, we got to talk about. I call this Sam Haim. I don't know what Salin is because there's no L in there.
It
That's what I call it,
is.
Sam Hain.
It's pronounced Samhain, but it does look like Samhain. So usually when me and the cast and crew, my executive team with Gravestone, when we end up doing interviews, we say it's pronounced Samhain, but it looks like Sam Hain. So people that want to buy it and they don't see the title of it and they need to type in the name of it, they're not going to type in SOU whatever. It says, it's actually spelled SAMHAIN. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I got this.
It's an interesting movie. It's very low budget. It was our very first movie. It's very low budget. Like the budget we had a crowdfunding. We didn't make a lot on that because we weren't known at the time. Like we really had no fan base at the time like we do now. And we had no budget at the time like we do now. But we had the budget came from my paychecks. And obviously my bills come first. So it was whatever I really had left over outside of needing food and all that and my rent and all that. But it was very low budget, and it was good for what we had. Not to trash any of the cast crew or whatever, but we had a little difficulty with our director and SFX artist, which kind of shows in the work. which is understandable. Like it was her first directorial debut as well, which is understandable that she would make mistakes as well. So we had some issues that we had. I mean that is expected because it's our first movie. We did learn from them, and we have a short film called Friday the 13th Dead Before Dusk on YouTube, which is a lot better. The SFX is a hell of a lot better. It's just a short movie. The script was literally written in like an hour. I wrote it in an hour, just something that I wanted to do to keep us relevant, to show what our SFX can do. And it was a lot better, especially with Amanda directing it. You could tell that we have the right executive team and we know what we're doing now, especially in a very rushed production, let alone full feature. So, but what Sound is about really is a guy escapes a insane asylum called the Skook Asylum. Has a lot of
Mhm.
Schuylkill County references in it, which is our local area. And he goes after his estranged wife and daughter, and he wants to kill them for being locked up. And there's a lot of backstory, not really a lot of backstory, I wouldn't say that, which I'm gonna get to in a little bit on how we fix that. But he ends up catching up to his daughter, and a group of video game nerds come to her rescue. And now they think they're in this like fantasy video game realm, like they're protecting their damsel in distress, the princess Peach or whatever, from this dangerous anti arc enemy villain type guy, and they're actually closer to death than they realize. So that's kind of a brief synopsis.
Yeah, I found it when I laughed when Amanda comes into the movie because she comes in, she plops down on the chair, and it's um. And again, I look forward to seeing her and Noelle in Massacre Academy,
Yeah,
but I kind of laughed. I was like, you guys look out the window and you don't see it, but you're saying she's being pulled by her hair
yeah.
by Relic. And I'm like, when she comes in there and plops down, it's she comes off like somebody just bought in front of her in the lineup at Walmart.
And here and I obviously I don't make any excuses for some of the acting or some of the sequences for it, because I do know
Look, I
that should have
like
been,
Amanda and I want to see
yeah,
more
that
of
should have
her,
been filmed differently. One thing I could say is that almost everybody in the movie, I think actually everybody in the movie, it was their first acting gig. So and when we filmed that scene when she just plopped down like the girl in Walmart type of thing, that was the first thing we filmed. And the scene where we see her getting drugged out, that was the last day we filmed. So it was so out of order of how we filmed that, with an inexperienced director and an inexperienced cast and crew, it came to the point that we just how can I word it without being critical? It was just to the point that we weren't experienced enough to know that, okay, we this happened here, we should do this, and then that happened there, we should do it the same way. You know what I mean? Like you just got drug out. We didn't think of it that way. We're filming a scene where she is just telling us the backstory when she should have given more experienced acting. Plus,
it,
with that being the first scene she ever act, because she never was an actor before this movie. So, acting in this movie first, it was different for all of us.
oh yeah, and then her mom comes in. The woman playing her mom comes in,
Yeah,
looks nothing like her.
yeah.
She comes in, she sits down, and she sounds like she's reading from a teleprompter.
I will tell you,
She's
she was
going,
not reading from a teleprompter, but she was reading her lines. Like that was the last thing we filmed that day, and we
oh,
filmed until
it's
we finished.
noticeable.
Yeah, we finished filming at like 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
And we were on set at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and she was reading her script literally from 5 o'clock in the afternoon until 11 o'clock at night when we got to that scene.
yeah.
And we filmed the scene for like an hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I
So that's
expect that
why,
when
yeah,
somebody's father or husband breaks out of an insane asylum and wants to kill
yeah,
them, I expect a little more frantic, little.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And again, I'm not trying to trash your film because
Oh, I completely agree.
I get it.
And that's why I think this would be a good time to mention it, but we are actually redoing the film, but to an extent. We were gonna do a sequel for the film called Samhain: A Festival to Die For. We are still doing Samhain: A Festival to Die For,
Yeah,
but
we
it's no
still want
longer a
we
sequel.
still want Amanda back though.
Oh, she's coming back.
Yeah.
It's no longer a sequel. It is going to be a reboot of this movie,
You're gonna
but it's
have
not going to be a shitty reboot where you have basically the same exact thing happen, and we're going to have a lot of the same happen, but we're taking out like a lot of the characters, some of the characters. We're bringing in some new characters. We're given a more in-depth backstory. We're having a lot better SFX because we now have a budget, and we are using internally as an executive team. We're using the term with Samhain: A Festival to Die For. We are going big or going home.
um yeah, I didn't mind Brett Harris.
Yeah, he was great. He was
Playing
great.
Doink the Clown.
And that's another thing, and I can't really go in much in detail. We are reinventing our relic. I can't say much about it.
Are you
All I can
having
say
him
is
back?
we're gonna make him our own. We're making him our own character.
Yeah, and I like the video game nerds element of it.
Yeah,
With Tyler Ebert constantly like,
yeah,
jeepers, what friend's mom would put up with the things he says to
right.
her?
Yeah,
But the woman playing your mom, and again, nothing against her, but it's like every other line was, "I need to go
yeah.
have a cigarette."
Yeah, and the thing about that was the okay, so like 98% of the movie was all improv because our director came to, not to bash her, but our director came to set
Hmm.
and didn't know what we were filming. She didn't even read the script. So it was like,
Oh
so
wow.
that's where a lot of the issues came in. The script was, if you look at the script and watch the movie side by side, you'll literally see that it's a totally different movie, really, because the script actually makes more sense. And I was trying to get her on this, but she just didn't want to do that. And I'm not trying to bash her, but I'm just saying the truth. And we and what happened was is like she was supposed to mention the cigarette maybe 4 times throughout the movie because it leads up to her, like possible death. You don't know really until like the sequel if she died or not, technically. But she gets burned by the cigarette by Relic, and it was supposed to be an on-screen, but because of time constraints and SFX ability, we had to turn it into an off-screen. But she gets burned by the cigarette, and then you have Tyler come in, the cigarette's hot for lipstick, and he picks it up and says, "See, told you, man, cigarettes are going to be the death of her." And it's kind of, symbolizing and foreshadowing the cigarette scene. And then he gets it and he throws it right at her. One scene I
Okay.
do like, and this scene wasn't in the script. Like I said, 98% of it was improvised. And I love this scene that Tyler did. He came up with it. Oh my God, the way he said this, we all laughed after we cut. We tried to stay in character as much as we could for this scene, but it was the underwear scene. I did not show them my underwear at all. It had my face all over the underwear. They did not see it. That was their legitimate laugh. It was a one-time take because we wanted genuine. I wanted to get a genuine reaction from them. And when oh my God, Tyler, when he said nobody wants to see Good Naked Jordy in all his glory, which was in the script, and then he improvised, and we did not plan this. He looked right in the camera and he goes, "Not even them," pointing to the people watching the movie. If you watch the movie back, watch that scene back, and when Tyler says that, and you look at my face, we had you could tell the camera lady was getting a little bit trying to get off my face because I'm starting to chuckle, and I'm trying because I did not expect him to say that, and that was perfect dialogue because when we had the
I like
premiere,
it. Yeah, I
when we
did
were in
like
the
that.
premiere and when it was in the theaters, I was at I was at the premiere. I was at one or two of the show. I was at two of the showings in the theaters. When I was at those events, um, and you actually and they do that line, the whole theater erupts in roars and laughter.
Yeah, Amanda told me that she wasn't acting during that scene.
She was not. She was genuinely, and I will tell everybody that she was genuinely mortified from that scene because me and Amanda are really good friends. We're like best friends. We've
Hmm.
known each other since high school, which is like going on like, this is like I graduated 13 years ago this year. She graduated 14 years ago this year. We've been friends for about 15, 16 years now. And the way she was involved in the project before being an executive, but when it was before it was a feature film, it was a web series at the time. She was involved way back then, before it was even turned into a feature film. And I asked her afterwards, when I watched back the scene, to see how funny it came out, and she's like, she goes, she goes, I was not acting. I'm like, why weren't you acting? Like, you looked really like you were like genuinely like you look like you were doing really good acting, but what do you mean you weren't acting with Scotty? Yeah, you were in underwear, but what was not shown on camera was your whole ass was in my face out of the underwear. Like your ass was like those underwear were really tight, but it was meant to be tight. And that's another reason why we got an R rating, because you could see, like, if you look closely for a brief second, when I'm going to turn off the light, you could see an outline of my private area. And it was noted in our MPAA our MPAA rating of it. Was partial nudity on behalf of an underwear scene. But Amanda was not acting because like the underwear was so tight and it barely fit me, because I got it from Kyle for a birthday gift, and one year, because I asked him to get me as a comedy gift, and he did. And I ended up and it fit me, but I gained weight since then, and it was like a year, like almost a year and a half later that we were filming. So I gained weight from the time I got it when they did fit to when we
Go on a
filmed.
diet.
I know I should have. And they didn't fit me, and like the front was fine, which is great for the movie, for the audience. But Amanda's not so much, because like my underwear was down, and you could see like my entire top of my ass and my crack. It was interesting. Yeah.
This scene right here,
Yes.
what
That
that
was not in
is
the movie. That is a promotional poster that we did, that we released on behalf of promoting the movie. That was we were going to include that, but
mm-hmm.
we found out that, because that was originally, we were originally going to do that as a scene, but we were unable to film it because the area of where that was taking place was private property.
Oh,
and
okay.
and we were able to take pictures, but we were unable to take videos on the property. That was at Centralia, that scene at the cemetery in Centralia. So in order for us to get around that, we end up doing a lot of our Centralia scenes in the bushes behind the cemetery.
Okay.
That's why we couldn't show the cemetery when she was being drugged by Relic, because first of all, the cemetery wasn't in that scene, but we could still put something there. You know, we could have filmed it there, but most cemeteries are private property, and in Schuylkill County, they're not likely to give you permission to film where dead people are, because the families, they could sue the cemetery for having them on film if their names are shown. And we didn't want to blur anything out, because we think if blurring something out in a movie would just make it that much more cheap looking. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Because like, oh, they didn't get permission, so they're putting blurs on the screen. I don't want to do that. That's why when you see the car's license plate numbers, those cars that you see that have the license plates, they're actually the cast and crew. And most of the license plates you see are mine or the fellow executives that we all signed a waiver for, agreeing that they could be on. So we don't show anybody's license plate that isn't a part of the production.
Yeah, another scene I gotta bring up too, and this there's like four gamers. One of them gets killed,
Yeah.
and the scene where you guys are mourning, I found myself laughing.
That's what we planned for that. We wanted it to be a laughing scene, because it's also a comedy, a horror comedy. So it's supposed to be like, okay, yeah, they're sad their friend died, but we didn't, that was not in the script, that crying scene. And we mentioned, I know we filmed that scene right after we killed Paul. Oh, spoiler alert, sorry. Um, but we ended up filming that scene right after the death. And Tyler, our actor that was there, that died, was still in the house. He
Mm-hmm.
was taking a nap in the kitchen, because he was up since 6 o'clock in the morning, because that's what time we started filming. And he ended up taking a nap in the kitchen, and because he was really tired from all the day of filming. And Tyler just blurts out of nowhere, Paul. And then, the actor goes, "You guys are dicks for leaving me," because we basically left him there. Like, all I'm saying is yelling his name out, crying his name out when he's dead. But Tyler just blurted that out, and I'm like, you know what? Let's improv a comedy scene where we're crying but make it to a point that people are gonna laugh because we're nerds. You know what I mean? That's kind so it was meant to be a comedy scene as well as like you weren't supposed to feel anything. But I will mention it's now a festival to die for. I didn't start writing it yet, but it's going to be a mix of what I wrote for the sequel and of the original. It's not going to be more of a comedy. It's going to be more of a dark horror.
You
I
guys
do
still
plan.
have Tyler Ebert making fun of your mom?
Yes, we do have Regina and Tyler. They're both going to come back. One of the nerds I will mention isn't coming back, and the character's not coming back. I will mention we are replacing that nerd with a different nerd, and I can't say anything yet. But I can tell you off after the interview. I can let you know as long as you don't say nothing.
Oh, I'm gonna blurt out to everybody on social media.
But you'll be happy to know. And I already spoke to the person. We're obviously going to audition the role off, but we have somebody in mind that we would like for that role, and you'll be happy to know who it is. Can't say who it is though. I'll let you guess, but after the recording ends.
No, well, like,
I'll let you. I'll confirm or deny your answer when we get off the camera. But we do have a plan. We do have an idea who we would like involved with that. Amanda mentioned what kind of nerd we would like for that
are
role.
you still gonna stick your ass crack at Amanda's face and the?
I think I would still like to do. I think I would still like to do the underwear scene. Amanda might nix it immediately, but I thought that scene was clever, especially the not even them thing. Especially, and I'm not going to get much into it yet because I don't know much about the movie myself. But we have another movie that we formerly known as Killer Parties, now called 72, that's currently in writing. That we're filming that before the Samhain reboot, and we think that this movie is gonna bring a lot of new people to us. And if that's the case, and it does, then the Samhain reboot, the people that didn't see the sound will see the underwear scene. And I think Tyler doing not even them to the crowd, that was freaking killer. And COVID knocked out 17 of the theaters we were supposed to be in. We were supposed to be in 18 theaters with sound throughout Northeast and Central Pennsylvania and some out of state. And because of COVID, we were down to one in Pottsville, Schuylkill County. So it sucked, and we lost what could have been a lot of money and a lot of stuff. But we and it sucked because of that, but a lot of people that it could have reached missed that iconic scene, which was really a great scene. It was one of the
I
funniest
don't
scenes I
know
think
what
I've.
would possess you to have your face all over your underwear.
I just thought it would be classic, and it was funny because I ended. If you watch the bloopers, obviously, and the one blooper scene, I said these
Yeah,
are my.
it was about 90 minutes of it.
I said I said about these are my Scotty underwear, and I was supposed to say these are my Jordan underwear, and I made that blooper because obviously like I'm Scotty and there were my faces on it, and it, Tyler just made a joke, and if you listen close enough, he's like, yeah, these are my Scotty McCoy underwear, $69 at the sex club store or something like that. He said, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, well, and the one death scene I remember. You, I never seen this before. You drowned a girl in a bowl of cereal.
Yep. Yep. And if you look at her head, it spells Sammy in the alphabet cereal.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was supposed to get on better, but the cereal was a year old because I kept it from when it was a web series, so that's why she didn't eat it because it was very stale. So when you look at Brett eating the cereal and he goes, that's real because it was really old and gross and disgusting. So watch that scene back when you see Brett go, it's because he was swallowing the cereal. And just an FYI, all of the scenes that Brett did, like all the lines he said was all improv. I wrote nothing for the character. Originally, Relic did not talk, he laughed. So we decided Brett needs to talk. Relic needs to talk. Like, and Brett is great at improv and he did amazing at it. And we're bringing him back for the reboot. And
Yeah.
also I wanted to mention what was the other scene? Oh yeah, remember when there's that girl clown? We kind of did that because clown versus clown thing, and he looks at the breaks the fourth wall. Is this with the thing? So he was hiding in the bushes, and Brett tells the story really good in my interview with him about the movie. If you want to
Mhm.
go back and listen to that, but he um he was in the bushes, and we had the girl, the girl in the clown costume, and a cop was going by, and patrolling probably, and Brett is he tells us what he was thinking. He was thinking like, oh shit, I'm in a full clown costume. I got blood all over me. I got a fake knife here that people that and a cop seeing me. He's thinking, oh geez, I'm gonna get my ass tased or arrested or something. So the cop goes by and she looks at him. She flashes a light over at him, and he's thinking of what to do. And all he did is with his bloody gloves, he waves at her, and her response is she waves back at him. And we're laughing because I'm thinking, I don't know what's worse, that she just kept going and she sees a bloody guy in a clown costume in the bush at like 10 o'clock at night,
Mhm.
or if she's just a shitty cop. But that was, I mean, hey, whatever. At least it didn't get him arrested. Oh, and at the when we had the showing at the Majestic Theater in Pottsville in October, Brett was in costume 2 of the days on Halloween and the opening
Mhm.
night, and he jumped out of the he was like scaring everybody in costume, and next thing I hear, and I'm inside selling some merchandise, and next thing I hear is the police sirens going off. I'm like, please don't have Brett get arrested. Please don't please don't get Brett arrested. I'm thinking Brett's getting himself arrested, like somebody called the cops on him. And he scared this one girl, and I'm not trying to bash anybody or anything, and I don't know who the girl was or anything, but this one girl, like Schuylkill County is known for its meth heads and for its junkies and all that. And,
Oh yeah.
so he scared this one girl, and she was definitely a meth head. Um, and he scared her really good, and he comes in laughing. I'm like, oh God, what did you do, Brett? He goes, I just scared this meth head into sobriety. the,
Oh.
way, the way he said it, I lost it. I was laughing so hard. It was so funny. Oh my God.
You know
It
what?
was
That is something you might want to write into when you reboot this.
I think so too, because I know I want to. I don't know how I'm gonna, because I know I can't really say much about it. I can't say a lot about it because I didn't write it yet to begin with. But I know who I'm killing off, and I know it's gonna be a lot more than what was in this one. That's gonna be a lot cooler. But what I can say is that I think that would be a good one to do for um a character that I have planned for the movie, either a current character or a new character that I also was debating writing in, because it's in Schuylkill County still. So I was thinking of writing in a drug addict as just a cameo role.
Yeah, and then have him afterwards. Like a lot of times he'll laugh and he'll say something. Have
Yeah.
him say that line.
Yep. Yeah, I think that would be great because he freaking the way he said that. Oh my God! Like I was laughing so hard, and Crystal and Skylar, because Crystal's our boom mic operator, and she was our voice of Dr. Baker, because our original voice of Dr. Baker bailed on us, never showed up, so we had to think on our feet, and we got Crystal to quick do a voiceover, and her daughter Skylar, who played Zombie Trick or Treat Kid, and she was also Tori in the Friday the 13th movie and fan film, and she was also a prop manager, and they were there with me because I carpooled with them, and when he said that, oh my God, Crystal almost peed her pants, and I almost make her pee her pants all the time with this funny stuff I say, but when Brett said that, she almost peed her pants. It was so I almost peed my pants. I was laughing so hard.
Are you
And then
gonna reboot the cereal scene?
I don't know. One thing I can say is, and I like again, I don't want to trash anybody, but our Jamie actress, horrible. I'm sorry, but I had to say it, but not good. She wasn't that good, and I got a lot of that feedback from a lot of people. And I have to say that I will say that I am taking out the Jamie, Sheriff Long, and Cameron characters they didn't do nothing. We are replacing them with newer characters that are in the sequel that were originally written for the sequel. And I won't say the characters' names yet, but we are writing. I am including them instead, and they have a bigger story arc than Jamie and them do. And Jamie was supposed to have a bigger arc, but again, with our director, not, like I said, again, I'm not bashing anybody because we all did the best that we could. We were all inexperienced. But with the Jamie, I mean, with the yeah, with Jamie storyline, she was supposed to have such a bigger role. Like even her death scene was supposed to be better. We were supposed to have a green screen done where everybody from the dead were going to come back as ghosts, and it was still a dream scene, but they would come back as ghosts, and it would be this long drawn out, dream. And that whole scene was cut out to a relic voiceover because the green screen didn't work right because our director didn't want to do it. She
Oh
just
wow.
did. It was too much work for her, and it just wasn't done. And when she got killed off, when she like you were supposed to see the candy pouring out of her guts instead of like it being blood, it was going to be candy because it's going to be like, oh, I wonder what's going on here. And then you see her as revive as a ghost. That whole scene was completely done with her just dumping out the candy, and you see it from behind. You don't even see her fall to the ground. And that was all because of our director and my chief operating officer. He was our associate producer on set. He was very upset with that scene because that scene was supposed to be a very cool scene, and our director, who was also our SFX, got very lazy, and Carl had to step in as our SFX, or we wouldn't have had much blood at all.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're rebooting it, and I'm glad Carl's going to be directing it. And we have Tyler Stepdad. We're going to ask him to do our SFX because he's what did our Friday the 13th SFX, and he did really good at it. Obviously, the death scene with me in that movie with the head would have been a lot better if me and Amanda didn't. Oh, I gave Amanda the wigs, but Amanda forgot the wigs at the house at Tyler's house, and we were already in Shenandoah, ready to film. She's like, shit, I forgot the wigs. So the only time you see me with the wig is during my death scene, or it would have looked a lot more realistic. But so you could tell it was a fake head when the hair is blonde highlights to dark black. It would have been a lot
Dark
better though
black.
if we didn't forget the wig. But I mean, like I said, mistakes happen. We're not a professional, like we are a professional company, but we are an experienced professional company. We're gonna make mistakes with our early projects. We're gonna learn from them. And I will quote Tom McLaughlin, director of Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Interviewed him, told him about my movie, told him about the mistakes we made. He said, when everybody asks me what my favorite movie I've ever directed is, I tell them the next one, because every single one I've done before the next one is always going to have its own fair share of mistakes. And I'm always going to have something that I wish I would have done better.
There you
He
go.
said he said it's your first movie. He said be proud of what you made, and that's it. That's why even I'm proud of the movie I made.
Hmm.
It could have been better. I know it could have been, but look, love this pillow. It's from a movie that we're going to reboot and everything, but I love this pillow because it reminds me of my very first movie. Not many people could say they made a movie. Not
I,
many people can
I I
say they
love
made.
that. I love that pillow. It's got Amanda on
Yeah, yeah,
it.
relic back there. Yeah, but
No, I'm
I
just
mean,
talking about Amanda.
not a lot of people could say they made a movie. I could say I made my first movie with a low budget in 3 months with a very inexperienced cast and crew, including myself. And we still made a full feature film, and we pulled off a full premiere red carpet event and
Hmm.
got it in at least one theater. Would have been we got it in 18 theaters, but it only was set for one theater because of COVID. So I mean, not a lot of people can say they did that with a $0 budget, you know what I mean, at the time. So I'm very proud of what me and my cast and crew accomplished. We did have a great cast and crew, albeit inexperienced,
Hmm.
but we did have a great cast and crew. We had fun while doing it as well, which is a bonus.
Talk about the project you got. What other projects you got going on? I know you're doing something with Noelle.
Yes, so me and Noelle are in a project together, but we're not in scenes together. I'm actually in scenes with Amanda.
Oh,
Yeah, Amanda's in it
does that
too.
involve your boxer shorts?
It does not. She is I am her bitch.
Well, you're
She's
always
my
her
boss.
bitch. You're always
That
her
is true.
bitch.
That is true. But
Yeah.
yeah, I play a character Barry. I am not in any scenes with Noelle, but I am grateful to have my name plastered next to Noelle in the credits, which is cool. But I play the character Barry. I am a drunk guy. I'm trying to say something without I'm trying to say it without spoiling too much, but I play a drunk and an assistant or quote unquote slave to Jade, who is played by Amanda. And I have to do what she says, and then like she bitches at me because I let too much information out. That she thinks I let too much information to the media out about the deaths and everything happening, and she basically bitches at me. And we did an impromptu scene that was not in the script where she gets in my face, points at me, and I'm like, you wanted to do that for a long time, didn't you? After how many times I pissed you off. And she's like, and I'm like, just let it out. So she like got in my face, like, you better not have told anybody, like got right in my face. And then it was funny because after that scene, after we finished that, like me and the actor that plays the mayor had to walk away, and the mayor's improved it. And we decided and we loved how he said it was funny. I was thinking of saying it, but I didn't, because I didn't want to piss her off, even though it was acting. And she ended, so we ended up putting it in simultaneously, where we both walk away and we say, "Stupid bitch." That was pretty cool. I have pretty cool scenes and dialogues in there, so I think you'll like it.
What's the name of the movie?
Yeah, it's called Frosty's Revenge, Seasons Bleeding 3.
Okay.
So, and that's gonna be out. I don't know when. I'm thinking between February and March.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming it'll be on YouTube, but stay tuned to my pages. I'll give those at the end of the interview, and you can see what I'm up to. Also, I wanted to mention also in the Friday the 13th movie, if I'm sure you watched it. And if you notice, we had a couple of jabs at Samhain in there. My favorite one, and it was I actually came up with this idea because I wanted to make fun of Samhain because
Mm-hmm.
just like an Easter egg. I thought it was cool. I came up with the idea. It wasn't in the script, but I thought of it on the fly, and Amanda mentioned, like, say something about marshmallows, like, because we're out in the middle of nowhere, we're supposed to have a bush party, whatever. And so we had our actor David McDemus say, "Oh, I forgot the marshmallows." And then Skylar says, "Isn't don't we know? Wait a minute, don't we know somebody that's allergic to marshmallows?" And I mentioned, because of Relic, he's allergic to marshmallows. I said, "Yeah, I saw that movie." And then we had the actors Robert Perronda and Quentin Schultz said, "Yeah, that movie sucked," at the same time. And oh my God, that was funny. Oh, that was so funny. We laughed after that because I like Amanda didn't know it was coming because she mentioned the marshmallow scene, just saying about forgot the marshmallows, then kind of improv off each other. And then she went up with Carl to get ready for the shot. And while they're doing that, I mentioned them, let's say that this is what we're gonna do. You say about the marshmallows, you say, "Isn't there somebody you know about allergic to marshmallows?" See, I seen that movie. You two at the same exact time say that movie sucked. And we did it, and Amanda laughed so hard right when that camera cut. She tried to hold it in so hard, but it was funny. It was great. She didn't even know it was coming.
Any other film projects you're involved with?
Let me think. Well, I'm in Victim No. I'm not. Oh, not in Victim No More, but I'm associate producer on that. We have 72. Stay tuned to our Greystone Films fan page because 72 is going to be coming out. We're going to start filming that probably May or June of this year. I'm going to be playing a character named Tate, and they end up nicknaming me to make fun of me, Taint. So stay tuned for that. I'll tell you off screen some things we have planned about that, but I don't know much myself because Carl's keeping a lot of it wrapped until he finishes the script, and then he's going to send me and Amanda the script for approval. And we're going to be doing an Indiegogo campaign for that with some amazing perks. We already have it created, just not live yet. So stay tuned for that. Then we have, of course, Sound, A Festival to Die For, the reboot of Sound, which is going to be a lot better, I promise you. It's going to have, we are going to be looking for hundreds of extras for the end scene. We're going to be doing a festival scene with a big bonfire. So we would need hundreds of extras in costumes. So make sure you bring your own costumes and you can be in the scene. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for that scene. And yeah, that's gonna be fun. I have that, and of course, Seasons Bleeding 3. We have coming out. I don't think I'm in anything else. I mean, I'm starting a video creation, on YouTube. I
Mhm.
have my green screen set up. I can't show you right. I mean, I probably can. Don't mind the mess here. I have my Wawa there, but I have my green screen and that's set up. My cameras and everything's charging, but I have my green screen set up. So yeah. What else I have? So I'm gonna be creating. It's called Slasher Scotty on YouTube. I do not have a URL yet because I only have like 25 subscribers because I just created the channel not long ago. So subscribe to me
It'll
on.
slowly build. I've
Yeah,
subscribed. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So if anybody can subscribe, that'll be great. I'm gonna be doing a show with that green screen. I'm gonna be counting down all your favorite kills of all your favorite horror movies, and it's gonna be called The Body Count. So that's one of the series I have planned. I'm starting it off with the entire Halloween franchise, starting with the first Halloween and on up, and then I'll probably be doing Samhain, and then I'll be doing some other like solo films, and then go into another franchise slowly. I wrote my first script for the first Halloween. I have some pretty funny dialogue. I'm not to give much away, but I do talk about a foot fetish concerning a certain death. Bob with his feet dangling. But no, yeah, that's gonna be a pretty cool thing. I have the green screen up for that, so I'm gonna be utilizing that for a cool background and everything like that. And my buddy Ron Tazai, he's my company's production illustrator. He's gonna be working on me with the animation on that, and he actually sent me the green screen for an overnight delivery. So that's his green screen he gave me, which is really cool, nice of him to do that. So thank you, Ron. Um, yeah, so
We need to do the Bug Amanda show.
I know. And then another thing I have going on is it's not my book, but I am editing the book series, The Fairy Squad Princesses, which is for my company script editor and good friend Marcus Matt Motra. So check out those books. I'm his editor. I volunteered to do that because he edits my books and he edits my movie scripts. So I return the favor and help him out as much as I can. It's that's what we do in the film industry. We help each other out. You know what I mean? We help each other as much as we can. You'd be nice to somebody to help them out, and you scratch their back, they'll scratch yours. Or in me and Amanda's case, you moon one chick, they moon the other dude.
Listen, talk about your writing. Are you still doing the trivia books?
So I was gonna have the Ultimate Halloween Trivia Book third edition out in 2020 with Halloween Kills at it, but you know how that went. So hopefully this year that'll happen. I did add some things to the trivia book. Obviously, I only added, from my understanding, I might have added some other stuff I forgot, but I added an added crossword puzzle with Halloween stuff in it. I had the word search added for the second edition. Now in the third edition, I added a crossword puzzle, and then I'm going to be adding some more things to the bonus chapter as well, like some more questions in that. Probably in the multiple choice, maybe true and false and all that stuff. Just some added things that can give people that already bought the first and even the second edition something to look forward to in the third. Plus, I'm going to add a new chapter on Halloween Kills, hopefully this year. I also have been working on, but I haven't in a couple of years now. It's been a while. I should really start back up on it. The Ultimate Nightmare on Elm Street trivia book. I would like to get back. I would like to get out this year. And then I also plan. And I wouldn't say I'm thieving it, but I love American Horror Story, so I'm thinking of doing like a trivia anthology series
Amanda experienced it when you were showed up in your underwear.
instead of AHS. Instead of American Horror Story, it's Amanda's Horror Story.
There you go.
AHS. There you go. But yeah, so yeah, I'm thinking of doing a book series kind of like American Horror Story, but my own content, of course. Kind of like the same theme in a way, where it's, each season is a different story. Well, each chapter will be a different story, and then each chapter will have its own sub chapters. You know what I mean? So about the something like that. So I think that'll be fun. Something that I'm not. I don't know. I can't give you a release date on that because I haven't really even started it yet. I just started thinking of the chapters that I want to do and the themes. But that's something I'm going to be working on. My social media, you can follow me on to find out all my work. My podcast Slasher Scotty, I have. You can follow on YouTube under Slasher Scotty. Subscribe on there. I have all of my full interviews on there. You can also subscribe to my Gravestone Films YouTube, youtube.com/gravestone films. That one actually has a URL because I have like over 2,200 subscribers on that one, or was it over 2,800, something like that. But I can't get on the Slash Scotty YouTube. I cannot get an actual URL until I hit 100 subscribers. So
Oh
hopefully,
wow.
yeah. So once I hit 100, hopefully it'll be youtube.com/Scotty, unless that's taken. Um, But then I have, of course, my Facebook pages. You can follow me for my podcast interviews that you can see who I'm interviewing, to my writing, to my acting. You can follow my personal Facebook page, which is my professional Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/smccoyauthor. Or you
Mm-hmm.
can follow Gravestone Films at www.facebook.com/gravestonefilms. Then we have Twitter, which is www.twitter.com/smccoyauthor. And Twitter on Gravestone Films is www.twitter.com/gravestonefilm without the S. And then Instagram, you can follow us at S McCoy Author or at Gravestone Films Prod, PROD. And those are my social media accounts. You can follow, obviously, the Gravestone Films ones will have anything involved with Gravestone Films, and anything involved with me outside of Gravestone Films will be on my fan page.
Skittles come over here again. I grabbed hold of him.
He is so cute.
Skittles, you hear you hear that, Skittles?
You
Say
better watch out, Skittles. I'm going to be breaking into Greg's house and stealing you. I better not say that, because now that somebody's going to see this and is going to steal Skittles, and I'm going to get the blame. That cat is adorable.
Yeah. Oh, you ran away again.
You probably heard that.
Yeah.
My cat's in my parents' place.
Why isn't that your place?
Oh, I have to pay $250 per animal that I have here, and you can have no more than 2 animals. And then it's after the $250 deposit a year. Then you have to pay, I think it's like $50 per animal a month.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. So not paying that much.
How is your dad doing?
He's doing good. He's doing good. We rushed him to the hospital, I believe it was the day before New Year's Eve, because he had blood in his urine. But it turned out that he passed a kidney stone. He didn't know it because he didn't feel any pain, because he's like paralyzed on the left side because of the stroke he had after the brain surgery. But he ended up passing the stone, and that's where the blood came from. So he was good to go. He's in a lot of pain. They said he has a lot of arthritis in his back because he sits in the same spot all the time. It doesn't really move, so he's in a lot of pain. But like I said, his cancer is classified as terminal, but they gave him a year and a half to live. He's now going on over 4 years. He is over 4 years.
It's just like my dad with ALS.
Yeah.
We first found out about it in 2014, and here we are, 2021. He's getting worse, but he's still with us as of right now.
Right.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Like my dad last had his MRI in December, and it came back stable still, and everything looked good. And they said, we don't know how this is happening. It's never happened like this before, where 4 years after initial diagnosis, and you're still in stable condition with the tumor not regrown and not being gone or whatever. But obviously the immunotherapy and everything is working, so we're going to continue doing what we've been doing, because it's working.
Is Amanda in stable condition after seeing you in your underwear? Your
Probably
ass
not.
crack?
Probably not. That I'm telling you, she told me a bunch of times that movie, like when we filmed the movie in that scene, that it didn't traumatize her, but it did scar her. Cause like it wasn't like, she saw my ass from a distance. Like it was like brushed up right onto her. Like it was crazy.
Well, it's gotten to the point I bugged her a lot about it online. She said, "No more Scotty McCoy ass crack comments," and I'm like, "Gee, but you don't want me to talk to you anymore?"
She tries to forget that moment, I'm assuming. But and like if you watch the movie, you'll see like the house, the nerd's house, Jordan's house. Like a lot of it's empty to the most part, and that's because we filmed in Scott Yagalinsky, who played the character Jason Reese. We filmed in his house, and that was his new house. because he just got married. Right, like I think it was like the second weekend of filming, but and so it was before we actually filmed our scenes. We didn't film any of our scenes yet, but it was the second weekend of filming that he got married that weekend, and that was his Graham's house, and obviously they moved all of his Graham stuff out, and he moved some of his stuff in, but a lot of it was empty. And then like at the ending of the movie where she mentions about the desk and the computer and all that, we had to improvise that because he got that delivered to him, and it wasn't in any of the scenes prior. So for continuity reasons, we had to say it was just delivered before she got here. Also, his door never opened properly from the outside. Like, it was so hard, it always got stuck. So when you see at the end Amanda coming in and you see her like opening the door, we planned that angle of her opening the door, but she was supposed to go right in. She couldn't open the door. She's like, fucking door. She was getting pissed because that door wouldn't open. And it's like 7 in the morning and she's getting pissed because this freaking door wouldn't open. And she was getting so angry because like everybody's like getting on her, like, why do you look like that in those pictures? She goes, because that's what happens when Scotty makes you be on set for 6 in the morning. And she has an hour and a half drive. So she had to probably be on the road at like, 4:30.
On the next film, you need to find other ways to torment her.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anything else you got coming up?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Like I said, follow my my Twitter, my Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and we'll post anything we got going on there. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the main thing I'm working on right now would be Sound a Festival to Die For, which I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
start writing that a little bit in my YouTube series plus my interviews right now. And of course, Seasons Bleeding and 72 will be coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I connected you with Noelle and
Yes,
Bobby. I
I
thought that
agree.
was a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I appreciate you and the cast and crew doing the Doubtfire Face
Of
challenge.
course.
Yep. I still and I think you agree, Amanda needs to do one
Yeah.
right. Yep.
We wanted to do one as a group
Hmm.
during our rap party, but because COVID hit, we couldn't get the group together to do a group Doubtfire Face challenge, unfortunately. But maybe when COVID's up, we can do one as a group for either 72 or a festival to die for.
Yeah, Amanda did one with shaving cream, and but
Yeah,
it's like just wait till after the COVID thing passes.
yeah,
Some of the bigger stars are, so it's like
yeah.
yeah,
Agreed.
yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah. And after the interview wraps, when you stop recording and everything, I can let you know a little bit about what we have planned for Sound, a festival to die for, and 72, just regarding some things. Nothing spoiler based, so don't get angry if you're watching this, Amanda and Carl. I'm not spoiling much, but just wanted to get his thoughts on what he thinks of something because Greg kind of nudged me in this direction.
Well, I'm waiting for you to do the Amanda versus the boxer shorts movie.
That'd be great. Revenge of the
I'm
Killer Shorts.
Oh gee, I'm not gonna let her off of that. I bugged her so much about that. Yeah.
Yep.
Although I got to admit, she looks good in her black leather jacket when you see her. So yeah. Oh
Yep.
well. Yeah. Well, I don't know how long we've been going on here, but I think that we're going to close off here. I'll keep you on here. I'm gonna stop
Okay.
record here, so you can tell me whatever other gossip you need to tell me. But yeah, you're my first.
Awesome.
You're my first guest to have 5 solo interviews. Although
Yep.
you're not my first 5-time guest, but yeah, 5 times, and I imagine you'll probably
Yes.
come on again next year.
Probably. I can almost get that. I can guarantee it.
Yeah,
We'll probably be promoting 72 next year.
yeah, yeah. We can do that. Yeah, no
Sounds good.
problem. But no, I always appreciate having you on here. You just need to learn to answer your phone when I call.
I know you always call me when I'm in bed, and I'm like, if I answer, I'm going to be on for 2 hours, and then I'm not going to end up
Yeah,
getting up for work.
yeah.
So I'm like, I'll
So
text them tomorrow. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Troy Elkie can talk for 3 hours. What's wrong with
I
you?
know. Well, Troy, we learned a long time ago that Troy Elke isn't a normal human being.
Yeah. Oh, Troy's great.
He really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I thank you for coming on today,
Not a
and
problem.
I think this is the latest in the year I've had you on,
Yes.
January 16th. But
Yeah.
next
It might be the
January.
longest time you had me on because it's going on 3 hours, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to close this off. I'll show this movie off with all of its
Awesome.
glories. Salem, or Samhain, as I'm going to call
Yep.
it, because that's just how it looks. You guys and your fucking spelling.
Blame the Gaelics.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I wish you luck, and
Thank you.
yeah, and whatever other projects. And yeah, I'm sure that you're going to get better and better and better. I mean,
Yes,
I'm certainly doing better than whenever I first started, doing the
exactly.
podcast. So,
And I mean, for everybody that listened to my podcast or followed my journey, I don't give up and I keep going and working hard and hard and hard. And like, if you listen to my very first podcast, which I don't even remember what it was, because there's been so many podcasts I've done, but it might have been like Victor Miller's Stu Charno or something. But
mhm.
even if you listen to the first Debbie Sue Voorhees one I've done, like the audio is shitty. And then listen to my most recent one with JT. Well, JTG's over Zoom, but like listen to my most recent, one over the phone, and you could tell the difference. Like you could tell I got better because I got better equipment. I got, more experienced. So the more experience I get and my company gets, the better product we're going to put out. So
Mhm. Well, I bid you a good day. I'll
thank
keep
you.
you on here, but I'm going to stop the recording. So,
Alrighty.
yes, Scotty McCoy and Sam Hain.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Yeah, no problem. Goodness.